Youth Reconciliation and Reparation Commission, our commitment to never again stands must be deeply rooted in robust coordination, progressiveness, and inclusivity. The implementation of the TRRC recommendation is central in ensuring that injustice of the past is not repeated. However, these recommendations to materialize effectively, they require progressive constitution and comprehensive security sector reform. In particular, the passing of the National Security Council Bill is essential to achieving proper coordination and transparent implementation within our security structures. Strong institutions form the backbone of a progressive nation, and by enforcing them through reforms, we are establishing a resilient foundation for our never again journey. In this critical period, constitutional reform also plays a central role. As youth and representatives, we have engaged extensively with our constituencies, gathering perspectives that reflect the aspiration of young Gambians for the 2024 draft constitution. Through numerous constituency dialogues, regional forums, open discussions, young people have voiced their needs, concerns, and hopes. They seek a constitution that genuinely promotes checks and balances, prevents the consolidation of power, and upholds democratic principles. This draft constitution must be a beacon of hope for all Gambians and serve as the framework through which justice, equality, and fairness is upheld. In addition to these pillars of reform, the National Youth Parliament has been active in promoting the well-being and protection and empowerment of youth through a series of nationwide initiatives over the past year. Our work has extended into critical areas addressing some of the most pressing issues faced by Gambian youth today. We held a national constituency dialogue on FGM, which brought together youth, traditional leaders, and community stakeholders to discuss the urgent need to end harmful practices. This dialogue underscores our commitment to safety and health of girls and women, emphasizing the importance of their full protection under the law. Furthermore, with support from UNICEF, we initiated a national awareness creation campaign on birth registration, highlighting the importance of every child's right to identity, recognition to and access to services. Birth registration is a fundamental right, and our partnership has helped create nationwide awareness, ensuring that every Gambian children are counted, protected, and empowered from birth. Additionally, we work closely with the EPI unit of the Ministry of Health to drive the national campaign promoting immunization. This campaign underscores the vital importance of vaccination, especially in rural communities, a safeguard our youth from preventable diseases. Finally, we take pride in hosting the first ever National Youth Awards, the event that celebrated the achievement and resilient commitment of Gambian youth from all walks of life. The momentous occasion gave national recognition to young leaders who have demonstrated excellence, creativity, and a dedication to nation building. This event was a reminder of extraordinary potential of our young people and a call to all sectors to invest in the future leaders of this nation. Distinguished guests, the youth of the Gambia continue to confront many challenges, with some seeking opportunities beyond our source. As representatives of the young people, we must ask ourselves, what can be done to make Gambia a more prosperous and welcoming place for our youth? How can we ensure they have the resources, opportunities, and supports to thrive right here at home? These are the questions we seek to address in our deliberations, with the goal of creating a Gambia where young people can achieve their dreams and ambitions without leaving. Gender equality, especially the empowerment of women and girls, remains central in our discussion. We believe in a Gambia where women and girls have equal access to opportunities and the chance to lead. When our women rise, so does the entire nation, and we remain committed to advancing this cause to secure a future where all Gambians can reach their fullest potential. To our government, development partners, and stakeholders, we call upon you to stand with us and prioritize the youth agenda. The decision we make today will save the Gambia we leave for future generations. And as young people, we are ready to lead with determination and purpose. In conclusion, I would like to extend my sincerest gratitude to the youth parliamentarians and the NYP Secretariat, whose commitment to national development is remarkable. Our heartfelt thanks to the National Assembly of the Gambia for your continuous support, mentorship, and technical support. And to the Ministry of Youth and Sports, the National Youth Council, and our partners, especially UNDP, UNFPA, UNICEF, Freedom House, and the International Trade Center, whose ongoing support makes our work possible. To everyone present here today, thank you for your unwavering dedication to our nation and to the empowerment of Gambian youth. Let us work together for a successful session and brighter future for all. Thank you. I look forward to a productive session together.
Statements, Order 29. Official welcome remark and partnership statement by the Honorable Clerk of the National Assembly, Mamadou Jack Sise.
I'm sure have read and understood the invitation, and then you have also done the needful. So today we are going to have you present the position paper if you have prepared it. Have you done it?
Yeah.
Good morning. Let me start by reading the salutation. The representative of the Ministry of Youth and Sports, the minister or representative of the minister present here for Gender, Children and Social Welfare, Honorable Speaker and members of the National Youth Parliament, representative of the United Nations, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps here in present, all honor protocol respectfully observed. Good morning to you all. It is with great pleasure that I extend a warm welcome to all of you on behalf of both sides of the National Assembly. Of course, on behalf of the Speaker, who unavoidably could not be here because of other official missions outside the jurisdiction. As we embark on a partnership dedicated to fostering cooperation and support to our youth, this initiative marks a significant step toward inclusivity in our democratic processes. Let me acknowledge the vital role you play as young parliamentarians in shaping our future. Today we stand at a crossroads of our nation building, and it is your voice that will shape the path forward. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the partnership between the National Assembly and the National Youth Parliament signifies a commitment to fostering democratic engagement and empowering the next generation of leaders. Your participation in this platform is not just a privilege, it is an essential element of our democracy. Your ideas, concerns, and aspirations matters deeply to us. In recent years, we have witnessed the power of youth in effective change, be it in climate action, social justice, or technological advancement. You are the torchbearer of progress, and your insight will guide us in making informed decisions that reflect the needs and values of our society. The National Assembly recently has invited the National Youth Parliament into its committee sittings and committed to us to create the opportunity for you to involve in our activities and legislative processes. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the institution of Parliament is dedicated to ensuring that your voices are heard and that you have a tangible impact on the legislative processes. Through our collaboration, we have created opportunities for dialogue, mentorship, and the creation of policies that resonate with young people across the nation. I can assure you that our partnership will not be a one-off or one-time effort, but a continuous journey. We aim to establish ongoing channels of communication and collaboration, allowing us to work together on initiatives that promote youth involvement in governance and civil activities. As we embark on this journey together, I encourage each one of you to engage actively, challenge the status quo, and bring your unique perspective to the table. Your participation is vital in bridging the gap between the young and the decision makers who govern this nation. Let us work together to build a future that reflects our collective hopes and dreams. And I look forward to seeing these great things that will emerge from your partnership. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, Parliament has a role to play. And the role of Parliament is very crucial in any nation development. Our role as lawmakers is very crucial. The laws that we make will impact either positively or negatively to society. And it's important that whenever we are to make laws, we have to be very careful and not to be dictated by party politics. Let's always have the interests of this nation at heart and consider our global efforts in whatever we are doing. Fine, it's a political house, as has been rightly said, but the nation, the Gambia, came supreme, and it's important that we base whatever decision that we are making on the national interest, particularly in considering the youths and the women folk, who are very vulnerable in any decision or any laws that we make. Let me take this opportunity to welcome you all to this National Assembly on behalf of the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, the majority, minority leaders, and both sides of the House. I thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Statement. Goodwill statement by the head of Corporations European Union, Enrique Pellicani.
Honorable Speaker and representatives from the National Youth Parliament and youth groups, government officials, representatives from the United Nations, the Diplomatic Corps, civil society, development partners, and all protocol duly observed, I would like to thank the National Youth Parliament for inviting the EU at this very important event. It does not only give me the opportunity to see the to visit this beautiful building, but also because the topic that has been selected for this session is particularly important for the EU. Good governance is one of the three priorities that have been defined for the cooperation between the EU and the government of the Gambia for the period 2021 and 2027. And in addition, the EU has developed a youth action plan for the period 2022-2027, which aims at creating a strategic partnership with young people around the world. This strategy has been developed with consultations throughout the world and, of course, engaging youth organizations. This youth action plan aims at accelerating the progress toward the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and other international commitments of the EU, such as the UN Youth, Peace and Security Agenda. The approach that the EU promotes is working around three pillars, and in particular one partnership to engage is very relevant for the topic and theme that has been selected today. Partnership to engage means increasing young people's voices in policy and decision-making. And I would like to also point out that the existence of the National Youth Parliament is not a common in many countries that you work with, and so I would like to congratulate the National Youth Parliament for the work that they are carrying out. In the context of the European Union Youth Action Programme, we have developed a number of initiatives. One of these initiatives is worth mentioning today. It's a setup of the Young Elected Officials Academy. This initiative aims to empower young political leaders at local level by providing them with the necessary skills, knowledge, and networks. We believe that by investing in young politicians, we can foster a new generation of leaders who are equipped to tackle local challenges and drive sustainable development in their communities. While the first event has just taken place, this was just an initial event. We hope that the National Youth Parliament was able to convey the information, but there will be other events, and we will be happy to liaise with the National Youth Parliament to ensure that many Gambian participants and young politicians can participate. Also, in collaboration with the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education and the Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, we agreed to revamp civic education in senior secondary education. This is a program that has just received the green light from our EU member states last week, and it focuses also on gender, particularly on girls. Girls studying in senior secondary education, but also girls who are keen to undertake a teaching profession and move on to what we used to be known as the Gambia College, now University of Education. We believe that empowering starts also with education, and education is essential for the country. So again, here we will have opportunities to engage more with various stakeholders, including the National Youth Parliament. I mentioned that governance is one of our priorities, and indeed we are promoting and sustaining the country in the governance reforms. And particularly, we are looking at transitional justice, legal reforms, security sector reform, and as well constitutional reform. Through the EU UNDP Great Initiatives, we are working to support a justice system that upholds fairness, accountability, legal reforms, and strengthens local governance institutions. We believe that this initiative is essential for laying solid foundation for a future in which young people can confidently participate in civic and economic life. We also have other initiatives that are also relevant for the youth, such as the program with International IDEA, what we call the CODE project, that supports key institutions that are important for democratic countries. We support the National Assembly, the National Human Rights Commission, and the Gambia Press Union, as well as the Gender Platform. We believe that this is essential, really, to translate the notion of democratic society with functioning and performing democratic institutions, and for empowering young Gambians as stakeholders in a fair and rights-respecting society. We're also supporting civic education in view of the future referendum for the new constitution. And again, importance of civic education, I mentioned already for our senior secondary education program, but also with regard to the constitution. The speaker mentioned as well the security sector reform. The EU is also active in this area. We're working with Germany and DCAF to accompany the Gambia to build a safer, resilient society for the next generation. And we are particularly conscious that 55% of the TRRC white paper relate to the security sector. These are just some of the initiatives, but when it comes to the Gambia, I mentioned already our senior secondary education program, but also there are other programs where we believe that young people are key stakeholders. I would like to mention some of them. The Youth Empowerment Program for Tourism and Creative Industries. I'm sure that many of you are familiar with YEP, and YEP will continue. with implementation from the International Trade Center, and it will focus on tourism. And we hope that the implementation will start next month. I mentioned already the senior secondary education, but also would like to mention a program that was also approved by last week by our member states, focusing on agricultural value chain. And here again, young people are key beneficiaries that we envisage together with women. We will focus on horticultural sector and infant food value chains. And again, there will be discussion and opportunities to discuss how this can benefit the young people. The European Union delegation and the National Youth Parliament is also starting to discuss about the possibility to create a youth advisory committee, a committee that will represent a forum to consult on specific actions or broader areas of common interest. And we hope this can be indeed a sounding board for us when new initiatives are going to be developed. Other initiatives will be developed in the future, and we will rely on the National Youth Parliament to disseminate them widely. Again, let me conclude by expressing the gratitude of the European Union delegation for this invitation, and really also appreciative of the theme of this session. I would like to conclude with a quote from Nelson Mandela: "The youth of today are the leaders of tomorrow." And I'm very happy to see that the leaders of tomorrow are also, as I can see in this room, women. And thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and welcome to the Gambia. And also thank you very much to the Clerk of the National Assembly of the Gambia. The young people are very much appreciative of your continuous support and guidance together with the National Assembly Service. As you plan for your retirement, on behalf of the young people of the Gambia, we wish you a good life after service. Thank you very much. Clerk, you may proceed.
Statement. Statement by the UNDP resident representative, Her Excellency Ms. Mandisa Masahugu.
Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports, Honorable Speaker of the National Youth Parliament, distinguished members of Parliament, Your Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps and Consular Missions, esteemed youth of the Gambia, ladies and gentlemen, a warm good morning to you all. It is with immense pleasure and optimism that I stand before you today at the 2024 Ordinary Session of the National Youth Parliament, a dynamic governance platform that embodies the resilience, aspirations, and the future of this great nation. I'm profoundly inspired by your commitment and courage as you come together to engage on critical issues affecting the youth and young people of this country, and by extension, the society as a whole, to discuss, address, and put forward solutions to leave no one behind, starting with the most furthest and most vulnerable: adolescent girls and boys, people with disabilities, women. Sectors of the society who play a critical role in ensuring that their voices, skills, actions, and further opening up of opportunities can make a transformative impact in the development trajectory of this nation. The energy in this room, born of the shared dedication to progress, is truly palpable. Today's assembly symbolizes the mission of the National Youth Parliament, serving not only as a forum for constructive dialogue on critical national issues, reinforcing checks and balances for accountability to the social compact, but as a catalyst for action and empowerment, enabling you to realize the full potential as leaders of today and tomorrow as we work together towards the URIWA program, the SDGs, the African Union Agenda 2063, and the renewed commitments from the Pact for the Future. Distinguished members, the theme of this year's session, Empowering the Youth Through Progressive Legislation and Good Governance, could not be more relevant. As you engage in discussions around constitutional reforms, youth peace and security, irregular migration, and substance abuse, let us recognize that these are not just topics for debate. They represent the lived realities of many young people in the Gambia. Therefore, empowering the youth and young people through open, inclusive, and constructive dialogue to fully engage and provide direction on number one, the enactment of sound and gender-responsive legislation and policy frameworks. Number two, prioritization, approval, use, and accountability of public resources and partner private sector contributions to the national development agenda. And number three, raising awareness, advocacy, and spaces to provide feedback to the public and strengthen the social contract between government and its citizenry. This is essential not only for peace, prosperity, and overall development, but paramount for tackling the root causes that hinder or perpetuate challenges towards the National Development Plan. As we reflect on the transformative potential of youth leadership, it is vital to align all efforts with national, regional, and internationally recognized frameworks, as we do live in a global world. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the SDGs offer us comprehensive pathways towards a future where no one is left behind. In particular, Goal 16, which promotes peace, justice, and strong institutions, resonates deeply with the objectives of the National Youth Parliament, calling for inclusive governance systems that can only be achieved through active participation, leadership, and innovation of young people. Distinguished members, this commitment to youth empowerment was reinforced during the Summit of the Future held in September this year. At this significant gathering, world leaders highlighted the critical importance of incorporating youth voices in decisions and decision-making processes and governance around the world. The Pact for the Future, which emerged from the summit, emphasizes the vital role of young people through the first ever Declaration of Future Generations, with concrete steps and commitment to more meaningful opportunities for young people to shape their lives and decision-making processes across the breadth of global, regional, and national issues impacting the way we live, the world we want, and the way it should be, as enshrined in our collective commitments for peace and prosperity for all. The Gambia was well represented at the Summit of the Future. Prior to this, under the leadership of our United Nations resident coordinator to the Gambia, Mr. Carl Frederick Paul, and the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture and the National Youth Council, we held a 3-day meeting that was looking at creating the space and vibrant engagement of the youth and young people of the Gambia to share your issues, concerns, and most importantly, the solutions that can be shared with the highest level of government within the country. The deliberations and presentation of the voices of the youth, their ideas, solutions, were clearly articulated to the highest level through a 1-day consultative process under the leadership of the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs. We are also proud to have supported 2 young leaders to represent the youth of the Gambia at the Summit of the Future in New York. Distinguished members, the well-thought-out issues to be addressed at this year's National Youth Parliament closely align with Gambia's recovery-focused development plan, which prioritizes sustainable development and the active participation of youth in national processes. The Gambia stands at a pivotal moment in its history as we navigate through discussions on constitutional reforms that are essential for strengthening democracy and the continued work and efforts on transitional justice, security sector reform, human rights, freedom of the press, gender and women's empowerment, and economic vulnerabilities that continue to impact the gains made in human development prior to COVID-19, in this age of the global polar crisis. Ladies and gentlemen, let me take a moment to recognize the important work within the country to hold us to account. We note the inputs and solid recommendations by youth across the country in the development of the 2024 Conflict Development Analysis. We also recognize the consultative participation and manner in which the National Action Plan for Youth, Peace and Security is being formulated in the Gambia under the leadership of the National Youth Council. We applaud the role that young people and youth are also playing in the global arena as champions of human rights, climate action, peace building, education, well-being, mental health, and in the creative sector. Distinguished members, data, statistics, analysis of trends, and the communication of this information hold us all in good stead to reflect upon how we can continue to collectively work with the financial and human resources at hand to ensure that we're positively impacting on the lives of the people we serve. It is important to acknowledge, as the speaker stated, the Gambia Bureau of Statistics and with its respective partners in releasing the 2024 preliminary report on the Gambia Population and Housing Census Report. This will further guide respective development interventions through sound and solid data for evidence-based development programming and interventions. The financial resources, whether domestic, ODA, grants, private sector, or from international financial institutions and bilateral partners, when they flow, must flow towards the prioritized development agenda and must be fully accounted for as part of the social contract. We all recognize the power of progressive legislation to facilitate meaningful change. Laws that promote transparency, accountability, and equitable access to opportunities form the bedrock of good governance and must be tailored to address the unique challenges faced by young people, particularly in the areas that you identified in the 2023 National Youth Parliament resolutions. In areas such as unemployment, access to quality education and technical and vocational training, to enhance youth employability, but most importantly, your leadership role as entrepreneurs and being self-sufficient. In agricultural productivity, equal access and learning opportunities for persons with disabilities, and strengthening the intergenerational dialogue. We trust that you will measure and reflect on your progress in addressing the 17 resolutions made last year. I believe that you have done very well, covering over 75% of the recommendations, working in close collaboration with government, civil society, academia, private sector, and development partners. It is important to recognize that these issues on your agenda this year, irregular migration, youth, peace and security, and substance abuse, are not merely youth issues. They are national priorities. The young men and women who undertake perilous journeys in search of better opportunities remind us of the urgency to create viable alternatives here in the Gambia. Combating substance abuse requires preventative measures, rehabilitation programs, and social safety nets that protect the youth, most importantly, adolescent girls and young women. As we collectively address these challenges, I commend the National Youth Council, the National Youth Parliament, for your strategic focus and dedication to fostering robust discussions. With over 70% of the Gambia's of the population being youth, you are at the forefront of tackling the challenges we face. We stand ready to support these initiatives through programs that promote youth entrepreneurship, skills development, and civic participation. I urge each of you, as members of this Parliament, to embrace your role as leaders. You hold the power to shape the laws, policies, resource allocations, and practices that will guide the Gambia's future and strengthen the social contract. The responsibility is not to be taken lightly. It requires determination, passion, and commitment to making a difference. Advocate with purpose, debate with vigor, and remember that your efforts here can change lives for the better. In conclusion, let me reiterate the UNDP's unwavering commitment to supporting the youth of the Gambia through the Recovery-Focused National Development Plan. The road ahead may present challenges, but it's also lined with opportunities. Let us strive for a future where the voices of young people are not only heard, but celebrated, where youth are recognized not as leaders of tomorrow, but as the leaders, innovators, and change makers of today. Thank you for your dedication to this noble cause. Abaraka Jerijef Jarama. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, and your office for your unwavering commitment and continuous support to the young people of this country, especially to the National Youth Parliament, and for facilitating this year's session to ensure that youth representatives are here to represent young voices. Thank you very much once again. Clerk, we may proceed.
Motion. Be it resolved that this August Parliament do consider and adopt the new official website of the National Youth Parliament by Honorable Member for Bakau Constituency.
Honorable Speaker, distinguished guests, fellow parliamentarians, I raise to move the motion of this August Assembly, accepting the dedicated National Youth Parliament website. This digital device is important as it will help the National Youth Parliament to be able to make transparency, accountability, public engagement, and enhance accessibility when it comes to the work we do as a parliament. Allow me to go through the specific technical qualities of the website. Going through the website has features and content management systems that will help users, that is the citizens or anybody that is using the website, to be able to maneuver through the documents of the National Youth Parliament, be it the archive sessions of the National Youth Parliament, the parliamentary updates, and the resolutions that has been passed through the sittings. The website also have the interactive civic engagement and analysis, which will allow users to be able to equip with interactive papers, like the events of blogs, resources, and learning materials, which is embedded in the website, and that is going to increase the youth participation or political participation of young people in the parliamentary process, and it will give them an extra knowledge of how the parliamentary procedures run, not only for the National Youth Parliament, but also the National Assembly at large, preparing them to be able to understand what are some of the parliamentary procedures that is happening in the National Assembly. Going through the website, you also have digitalization of government documents. In the website has documents that are digitalized, and the workflow automation tools to streamline parliamentary processes, operations, reducing the paper print footprint in the Gambia. Through this website, users will be able to have features that includes digital document submissions of the National Youth Parliament and also the National Assembly, e-signatures, functions, and then other documents that they will be able to search through the National Youth Parliament website. The website also entails responsiveness and assessment design. That is, the website is responsive and it is accessed by every user in the Gambia. Because when the website was being made, there is this web design that is put in mind to make sure that every user or everyone that has access to electronic device will be able to access this website, but also will be able to use it with any electronic devices that they have. That is, be it a laptop, be it a mobile phone, or any other electronic device that is able to have access to internet, and the website is optimized to make sure that it consumes low bandwidth of internet, making sure that information is accessed by everybody in the part of no matter where you are in the Gambia. The website also have educational resources that will help users to be able to learn parliamentary procedures and other issues that are related to the parliamentary procedures in the Gambia. The website also have inspiring the website will also inspire future leaders through a digital civic platform, data security, and inclusion policies. Because when you look at the website, we are moving to a digital world, and it is important for the parliamentary procedures and sittings to be more digital, and then it includes the privacy, data inclusion, and make sure that everybody is included in the parliamentary procedures. By providing young Gambians with a secure, interactive platform that is rich and educational resources, the website serves as a digital gateway to democratic engagement. The system encourages youth to consider their roles in government, aspiring a generation that is informed and committed to shaping the nation's future through the internet and other issues, other documents that are available on the website. Honorable Speaker, this platform signifies a major step towards a modernized, inclusive, and technological-driven parliament. I urge this August Assembly to support this motion as it represents the dedication to a transformative and transparent, efficient, and youth-centered national development parliament in the Gambia. I would want to conclude by saying the Gambia is part of countries that are moving towards the digital world, and it is, of course, very important for the National Youth Parliament to be able to have a website where everyone, no matter where you are or what you do, will be able to access the website and get information with regards to the National Youth Parliamentary sittings or issues that has to do with the National Assembly. For example, right now, as we have in our sittings, we know that some people are engaged and they could not make it to this assembly. But through our sittings, through our website, they will be able to follow on what are some of the resolutions that are passed and what are some of the complaints that are coming from the youth, the young people of the Gambia, and they will be able to follow up the live updates. And through the website, most people will be able to know what are some of the resolutions that has been passed through our former sittings, the last year sittings, and the year before last sittings, making sure that there is that accountability and transparency in what we do as a parliament. Because those documents are readily available and they can be accessed at any time, and anyone can use those documents to make sure that they hold the National Youth Parliament to accountable. So I want to conclude by saying I urge the National Youth Parliamentarians to accept this website to be part of the National Assembly and that's National Youth Parliament procedures. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Any seconder to the motion? Yes, Honorable Member for Combo South.
I, Honorable Omar A. Manjang, the member for Combo South constituency, I will like to second the motion for the successful launch of this website. Thank you.
I now put the question. It has been moved and seconded that this Honorable Assembly to adopt the new official website of the National Youth Parliament. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Clerk, we may proceed.
Motion. Be it resolved that this August Parliament do consider and adopt the motion on the Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia, Promulgation Bill 2024, by Honorable Member for Fonyi Berefet.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Speaker, and then the members of the House. I rise to move the motion on the Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia Promulgation Bill 2024. Honorable Speaker, with your permission, I would like to use my laptop to reference my point and also guide me through my deliberations.
You can go ahead, Honorable.
Thank you. First, I would like to thank the UNDP for giving us the much needed support, and then the National Assembly for accommodating us in these chambers. And then without wasting much time, I would like to discuss on few points on the 2024 bill, and then why it is important for some of those points to be maintained, and then why it is important for some of the points that which were removed from the 2020 Constitution to be brought back in the 2024 Constitution. So first, to start with, the Chapter 5, Leadership and Integrity, Section 23, Subsection 1. I'm reading this point to have a baseline on my discussion that will be coming next. So all this point, after reading, I want all the members to take note of the point that I'm going to read. With this, we will all be able to understand as to why this clause should not be removed from the 2024 draft constitution, because this area has been removed. And then also, I will also read on the explanatory note from the Ministry of Information as to why this clause has been removed from the 2024 bill, the draft constitution bill. So, section 33 of subsection 1.
Honorable Member, just a clarification. The section is not removed, it's just not featured, because as long as we are concerned as a country, the 2020 draft does not exist. So the chapter you're talking about is not included in the 2024 draft instead. Thank you.
Thank you. Not included, they're still removed. Anyway, thank you for that correction. So the 2020 draft, it is there. The 2024, it is not there. It is not yet included. Since it was final, it is not yet included. So section 23, subsection 1, read, this chapter applies to every officer and office holder and every authority, both public and private, and to every citizen or other person who has or is given, whether on contract or otherwise, a functional role, responsibility in relation to a duty that is in the public interest. Subsection 3. For the purpose of this chapter, a reference to a public office or public officer shall, as the context requires, be constructed to include every office in the service of the state, the citizen of the Gambia, and every person who is elected or appointed to such office, irrespective of how the office or election or appointment to the office is described or designated. So now, when you look at this, now goes into the responsibility of leadership. Section 24, subsection 1, cognizant of the fact that all sovereign authority emanate from the people, any authority, duty, or responsibility confer or assigned to a public officer, whether under this constitution, an act of the National Assembly, or any law, is subsection.
Point of order, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Member for Sarakunda.
Honorable Speaker, I believe the Honorable Member should move the motion and allow the House to second it before he delivers into the points that he wants to discuss on the content.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Sarakunda. Honorable Member for Fonyi Berefet, kindly move the motions, and later in the discussions we will deliberate on the specific issues. Thank you.
Thank you. I wish I need to give explanation as to why I'm moving this motion. Anyway, it's still fine. As the Honorable Member for Fonyi Berefet, I wish to move the motion on the Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia Promulgation Bill 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Fonyi Berefet. Any seconder? Yes, Honorable Nominated Member for Basse. I now put the question, it has been moved and seconded that this Honorable Parliament do consider the motion Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia Promulgation Bill 2024. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Clerk, we may proceed.
Sorry, excuse me, Honorable Speaker. I think you should first
Honorable
allow...
Member, on what are you standing?
I am standing on, I think this is a point of order because I think you should allow the members to first debate on the motion before you just pass it. If all the motions move this way are going to be passed, we don't even
Point of order, Honorable
background
Speaker.
of what's going on.
Point of order, Honorable
So
Speaker.
I think the motions, when moved, should be first debated upon before you place your question. Thank you very much.
Honorable Member, thank you very much. So what is happening right now is the motion has been moved and seconded, and now we have allowed the House to start to deliberate on it. We are not bypassing protocols, but thank you very much for your concern. So thank you very much. Clerk, you may proceed. So for those that have...
Sorry, Honorable Speaker. I think this matter has been wrapped up.
Honorable Member, what are you standing on? Because we are in the House. We cannot just be on in mics.
It's a point of order because it's a deviation.
Member, allow me to learn. We are in the House. We cannot just be on in mics and standing up, please. Note what you are standing up on, and so we will know how to proceed.
Honorable Speaker, I have noted already. I'm standing on a point of order. I'm calling an order on you, Honorable Speaker, for deviating from the protocols. Telling you...
Remember, which clause are you standing on?
Telling you that if you have already asked the question and the question has already been answered, there is nothing to be deliberated upon. Because if you move the motion, someone seconded it, you've placed the question, what else are we going to talk on? So I'm asking you, please...
Remember, which clause are you standing on?
Honorable, could you please...
Thank you, Honorable Member, for Birkamonat. You might sit down. What you have said is duly noted. However, please, we're in the House. Before you stand, decide whether you're standing on a point of order. Honorable Member, don't on your mic.
I'm standing on a point of order, Honorable Speaker. I've said that a number of times. Thank you very much.
Before you stand up, please note whether you're standing on a point of order or you're standing on a point of observation. And if you're standing on a point of order, please reference on the point of order on which you are standing on. Kindly. Thank you very much. Honorable members, at this juncture, I would like to open the floor for debates. Any honorable member who wants to contribute to the debate, you can say so by raising your tags to be called upon.
Point of observation.
Yes, honorable member for Fonyi Brefet.
Yes, I guess before members discuss on the motion, the mover of the motion should deliberate on the point. Then from there, the discussion can be open to the floor to also give their submission. Thank you.
Point of order, Honorable. Point of order.
Yes, honorable member.
If you look at the standing order, section 32, debate of the motion, subsection 1, when the motion has been moved and seconded in the House, the Speaker shall put the correction to thereon, to the Assembly in the same terms as the motion, and which I believe the Honorable Speaker have already do so. So thank you.
So, honorable member for Fonyi Brefet, what you're talking about is during the time you're moving the motion is when you have the opportunity to deliberate on that, just like what the honorable member for Bakau did. Thank you.
Point of observation. I was exactly on that, and then someone wrongly point of order, and then you accepted that. So I cannot go against your ruling, I accept that. So hoping that I will give points so that members can be clear of the doubt that which I want to clear here.
I accepted it because you were doing continuous direct quotings instead of speaking for the motion in which you were raising. So that was why I cut it short. However, you can still participate in the debate and, contribute your ideas which you have for the motion.
Point of order, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I think you
Honorable
have
Member for Birkamanot, what are you standing on?
point of order. I'm calling an order on you still, Honorable Speaker.
Okay.
I think you do not understand the procedures. When the Honorable Speaker was rightly doing...
Honorable Member, do you understand what a point of order is?
If you are deviating from the topic, Honorable Speaker, I have to call an order on you and you should accept me. I don't know why you're not allowing me to talk.
No, because I don't understand what you...
You have deviated and you would not be able to know if you do not listen. I said point of order. Now allow me to place...
Go ahead, go ahead.
Thank you very much. So the Honorable member for Berefet was doing the right thing. And someone wrongly quoted or called a point of order. You accepted that. Now this point you were given that he is doing a repetition is not the way to ask him to sit down. Perhaps you could point him to the right direction, to tell him to stop that repetition. But you did not ask him to sit down. Then you say, okay, this is why I'm calling you.
I did not say he was repeating.
I think first, the mover of the motion should be able to give a background. People cannot come debate anyhow, then the mover comes and give a background. How would that sound?
I did not say he was doing repetitions. What I said was he was doing continuous direct quotations. That is what I said. And I think everybody hears that, innit? Thank you.
Point of order, Honorable Speaker. Point of order.
Can we continue with
it's on the motion.
Yes, please.
Honorable members, if a mover of the motion...
On what are you standing on, Abdul? On what
It's a point of order on the motion.
Okay.
So if the person that's supposed to, the honorable member that's supposed to move the motion first, should now move the motion and allow it to be seconded. After it is seconded, he is now given the discretion to now deliver on that particular motion. And from there, the honorable members that have raised their tax will now be given the opportunity to deliver based on the time that is given to us. Honorable members, I know it has been a while. Maybe perhaps we have not gone through our sections and our standing order properly. That's how the procedure of the House is done. You understand that?
Point of order on point of order.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Sarakunda.
Back to him.
Honorable Member for Sabasinja, please sit down. And if you stand up on a point of order, please reference where on the standing order you are standing on a point of order. Please, this is a House of Parliament. It's not our offices where we meet, our meetings where we meet. You cannot just stand up and be talking and you do not make your references on this point of order you are standing on. Please, continuing, we have a business to discuss. More important than all that, back and forth that we are currently having. Can we kindly proceed on why we are in this house? Kindly, please. Thank you. Can we have the tax up?
Honorable Speaker, I wish to rise on a point of order.
Yes, Honorable Member for Fonyi Jaro.
Yes, you wrongly accepted the point of order raised by the Honorable Member for Serekunda. So by doing that, you violated your own rules. So I think it's important you allow the process to flow.
Can you quote the point of order on which you are standing on? On the standing orders, please.
On the point of observation, that by the fact that you violated your own rules.
Honorable Member, please sit down because you have not decided where you are standing on a point of order or point of observation.
Because there is a procedural blunder.
Kindly sit down.
We really need to correct before we proceed.
Kindly sit down, Honorable Member.
Allowing the Honorable Member for Serekunda violate the rules and you wrongly rule on that.
Honorable Member for Fonyi Jaro, kindly sit down. Your point of observation is not noted. Kindly sit down. Your point of observation is not noted.
You really have to be guided.
Kindly sit down. Clerk, kindly take records of those that raise their tax.
Before the clerk will do that,
kindly raise your tax.
To order, Honorable Speaker. You violated the rules. There is no sense in not allowing the mover to give background. You don't want us to talk about, what do we want to talk about?
Kindly raise your tax, Honorable Members.
Background to the reason he is pointing the orders. I think, Honorable Speaker, your dictatorial tendencies are rising.
This is a free house where everybody has the opportunity to speak. But I want to believe as honorable members, we should have clearly understand when we are standing to speak, what are we going to speak about? Because as you are standing honorable, after I ask you to sit down, you have not decided whether you are speaking on a point of order or you are speaking on a point of observation. And you are violating the procedures by standing while I am addressing the House after I have asked you to sit down. Honorable Clerk, kindly get the record of the voting so we continue. Of the record of tax, we continue.
Point of observation as this is going on. I just want to guide the assembly.
Yes, please, Honorable.
Yes, thank you. That is why before I start, because what I'm reading is not my own writing, these are constitution and they need to be quoted correctly. That is why I was saying, and before I start, I seek for your permission to be able to read, because I said I'm setting a background for my discussion. And then also when you look at Standing Order 23, subsection 2, it says, the speaker may allow a member to read a speech in particular case where the speaker is satisfied that it is necessary for accuracy in statement of fact. I don't want to deviate from the fact. That is why I was reading, because I was setting a background for my discussion. And then for members to be well directed, it is important for me to give background discussion, then from that debate can be open on. And then at the end, I can also take part during the discussion. After all the members, when they have deliberated, at the end of the discussion, that is the time I should wind up the debate, not during the process of the discussion from the members.
Of the tax, honorable member for Fonyi Brefet, while the records of the tax are being taken, kindly continue on your explanation.
Thank you very much. So, yes, still I want to, at some point I'll be referring to the article that which I'm having on my laptop with your permission. And then the 2020 draft constitution, section 50 says, every person has the right peaceably and unarmed to assemble, to demonstrate, to packet, and to present petition to public authorities or private institutions. When we check in the 2024 draft, this area, some part of it, that is to packet and to present petition to public authorities or private institutions, this area was not, this area is omitted as for now in the 2024 draft constitution. And this area needs to be included, because it is not only within the government settings whereby employees may be dissatisfied and I want to go on protest. So now whereby, let's say you remove the private sector, it means those that are working in the private sector may be at disadvantage. And then also, demonstration is sometimes a problem in Africa. Let me take the example of the Gambia. Demonstration is a human right that which we must exercise. When things are not going right, this must be done. And then this area is being removed. In the 1997 constitution, this area that we did, which is not captured in the 2024 draft constitution, is not in 1997 constitution. And as a result, many of the citizens are subjected to this. They were arrested. They were arrested on baseless ground because this section provided them the power to do so. And we are also seeing, we voted for this government to ensure that some of the laws that we are having, that we are not happy with, so that those ones will not be. And as a result of this 1997 constitution, that is why our own speaker with other people were arrested, because the law provided them for that. And they were just sitting and discussing, and they were unarmed. They were also disturbing the peace of the public. They were also obstructing the traffic, and they were arrested. So when you check, when this clause is not also bring back, this thing will continue, and citizens will continue to suffer in the country. We are living in our country. Whenever we are dissatisfied, we should be able to go freely and then demonstrate. But whereas this is still there, and this justification, the explanation from the Ministry of Information on why this area was removed is, with your permission, let me read this. The 2024 draft is maintained. The provision on the draft constitution of the CRC 2020 does not sufficiently provide the necessary safeguard to address the risks to public safety and order. Neither does it establish guidelines to stabilize individual freedom with the collective need of the society. So now, if, let's say, for instance, we say the 2020 draft do not provide sufficient guidelines for the public safety, what is wrong in the parliament adjusting on that area rather than removing. And when this area is removed, the government that will be in charge will continue to use this clause to punish the citizens whenever they want to go out to demonstrate on issues that which are affecting them. When we also check in right to education, in 2020 draft, section 57, subsection 2A, basic and secondary education shall be free, compulsory, and available to all. But when we check in the 2024 draft, secondary education is removed. And then now, let's imagine, currently when you are going to the Gambia College, which has now been transformed, you pay. And then also we are saying now, the senior secondary education also will not also be free. When we look in our financial muscle, how many people can be able to afford that, to pay for this? Let's say for example, if you are having 4 child, and all of this, they are already in senior secondary school, how many of them can be able to sustain the continued education of these people? The basic, the secondary education should be free. And we always said, like in Mandinka proverb, ni man sala silo bo kunte mod, kungol ba farba silo bolaje. And then the justification that the Ministry of Information gave in regards to this as to why they remove secondary education is because of financial constraint. OIC moto billion more kuro jella dundaje. Yetaye wafi. Let them ensure secondary education continue to be free. Because whereas our education system is expensive, now, what is the future of this country? Because you will see that people will continue learn until when they reach at grade 9, they will not be able to continue. Because when if my dad is unable to pay for my education, what will he do? I'll have to sit at home. And in this area, the secondary education should be compulsory free. The government should look at all means. The government is our ATM card. That is why we are paying all the necessary needs that which those in authority need. We are giving them vehicle, we are giving them fuel, and even out from the clothes that they put on. We give them so they can be comfortable and bring us something very good. We cannot be paying for secondary education. This area needs to be brought back. I mansakuna tarlaji. Yenda fair kala in samana. Need a secondary education. Need to free. Ute budget. Do na mimba kenol. So we move on now. When we check also right to vote and be registered right to vote, right to be registered and to vote. Now this area, when you look at the criteria also in the 2020 draft, this areas section 75, subsection A, D is in the draft 2020 constitution, but in the 2024 it is not there. Which read, it says, a person, that is section 75, subsection A, a person is qualified to be registered as a voter and to vote at election or referendum if the person, now subsection D says, has not been convicted of an election offense during the preceding 5 years. Now this area is being removed in the 2024 draft. We want to ensure the people that will be holding the office of the president are with clean sheet. We don't want to be having criminals occupying that office. When I do something wrong 5 years back, now I'm the president. I want to correct that mistake. People will say, so we want to correct this area, and this area was removed from the constitution. The explanatory note that was given by the Ministry of Information is, it says, because someone cannot be punished for something that he did 5 years back. What we are saying? Now, you want to have criminals as president and you want to come and correct action of others? No. We want to have people that have clean seat to sit in that office to dictate what the public does. So, when you also check the political parties, in the 2020 draft, section 85, subsection 5, that one says, no political party shall receive a contribution or donation from any person who is not a citizen of the Gambia or from any corporate or unincorporated body. But this area is removed in the 2024 draft. Now, we are saying even terrorists can finance the political parties. When they win, what happens? Let's say, for instance, I'm also having a business that is illegal in the Gambia here. When they supported my political party until I win the election, what do you think will happen? I will favor those people. So what we are saying, the 2024 draft constitution should bring back this clause, whereby political parties should not be sponsored by people that are not Gambians. Like I said, if a terrorist group supported my political party until I won the election, I will have to compensate them. If it is, let's say, for instance, criminals that have also supported my campaign, I'll have to support them. Where they may do something wrong, and then I may not be able to charge them. So we are saying this area, the political parties should be supported by the Gambians, and no foreign agent or body should support our political parties. Powers of the president. Now, when you look at this, the 2020 draft constitution, section 88, subsection 8(4), have provided that the president, whenever he wants to do certain appointment, will have to come through the parliament. But in 2024, this area has been removed for now, because they said, if not, the separation of power, or let's say the president may have limit powers. But what we are saying, the National Assembly also have an oversight function. And when the president has the sole power to elect anybody in any office, then the appointment of some individual, there will be party influence. There will be compensation in this. But when it is through the National Assembly, we will see people that are competent, and those people will continue to man the office of the various positions. But where the president has the sole right to appoint anybody in any position, now the oversight function of the National Assembly in scrutinizing on some of the appointment the National Assembly will no more be having that. And then in that, as I said, the appointment will be influenced by party motive. Now, when we check some of this that we are having in the 2020 draft constitution and in the 2024 draft, the government is still trying to bring some of the draconian laws that which we complained during the then regime. And then we cannot continue to have those things in this constitution. These things must be removed. And that is why the National Assembly should stand on their ground in ensuring some of these areas that have been removed. And we have seen during the Jammeh regime, the constitution that was taken to the people, that was widely consulted. When they take it to the executive, they came to the panel and bring on an area that was not publicly consulted, and it was approved. These have affected us, and that is why all of us here contributed to making Jammeh a dictator. And now that is what we are also promoting for the current president to be a dictator. And when he is a dictator, so when you also check, because you cut valuable areas from the 2020 draft. Yet at 2024, at the ate nyame ko min baylatio ka te ka nyimi rek nyonya da bentonology at the ate to le nyame ya boni. This I think that shouldn't be done. And although the 2024 have also some provisions that also have promoted the effective participation of the youth. Now, when we check on the NYSS case, the 2024 has maintained that, and this is an area that is very, very important, because not all of us will be good in academic work, but also, whereas we have others that are also into skills and other walks of life, it will be very, very good for the country. So that area being maintained in the 2024 draft is a very big plus, and we don't want this area to be removed from the 2024 constitution, the draft constitution. This area should be maintained. So that being the case, Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for giving me the floor, and then while I allow the members to debate on the point. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Fonyi Brafet. That was very elaborate. Honorable members, we are going to start the debate. However, everyone that is called upon is given 2 minutes. Please, I know we have a lot to say. Let us try as much as possible to speak within 2 minutes so that we will give our other colleagues the opportunity to also speak. Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Serekunda constituency, you have the floor.
Good morning, honorable members across the country. Honorable Speaker, permit me to just make some reference from my notebook here.
Go ahead.
So, regarding the draft constitution, that is the draft 2024 that is recently gazetted in comparison to the 2020 that has been put in the dustbin after spending so many millions. For me, I believe that we all today have a responsibility to look at clauses that we believed do not really favor the youths of the country, and we're able to put it there, but to also unanimously agree that the country is in need of a new constitution. And as a country, we need to make sure that we are able to look into that. But looking at the draft constitution, I just want to pay attention on when it comes to the protection of liberty of the people. Looking at the draft 2020 constitution, it talks about when an individual is being arrested, the person has to spend 48 hours after the person would be released or given the permission to have a bail. But looking at the 2024, it has been increased to 72 hours. Now in that, we are pleading to the executives, and also when the gazetted constitution comes into the House of the National Assembly, we are pleading that that particular clause be returned back to the draft constitution to have the 48 hours instead of the 72 hours. So that is something that we are really interested in. So the other one would be
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Serekunda. Can we now have Honorable Member for Sabah Senjal?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Honorable Speaker, thank you so much. Hence, there is limited time, that is 2 minutes. Let me just submit my submission. I have two issues here with regards to the draft constitution. That is under clause 57, subsection 2A, which talks about secondary education. If you look at the 2020 draft constitution, this secondary education was free and available.
Yes, point of order, Honorable Speaker.
Oh, yes, Honorable Member for Lower Badibu.
Yes, order 10, that is the session. In that order, it says that honorable members, member of the House of Committee should decide on the time to discuss on the topic.
You are not audible.
Sorry. Okay, hello, you hear me? I said the time frame for the discussion on the topic should be decided by the House of Committee. That is Standing Order 10, section, the session.
So did any honorable member have an issue with the 2 minutes given so that everybody has an opportunity to speak?
Yes, I have an issue with it, it's small.
How much time will you want?
5.
If you want 5 minutes?
Perhaps, yes.
When you are speaking?
Yes.
When you are speaking?
No, for everybody. If at all is okay with them, it depends on them. If they want, but then majority carry the votes. So
I think majority already agree that 2 minutes is okay for us to manage time well. If you want 5 minutes, Honorable, when it's your turn, you'll be given 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, okay.
Can we kindly proceed? Honorable Member for Sabah.
Honorable Speaker, sorry, I disagree with that. Hence, 5 minutes is going to be allocated for all of us. I am comfortable with 5 minutes, not 2 minutes.
Honorable Member, kindly continue your deliberation.
Please do consider my consideration, please. Do consider me, please.
Honorable Member, you have already started.
I think it should be limited to.
Right now, you're wasting more time. If you have continued your deliberation, you will have said more than you intended already.
Okay, Honorable Speaker, you are not fair to me at all. Let's begin. Okay, I was talking about secondary education should be free. And if you look at the 2020 draft constitution, it was free. But in the 2024 draft constitution, it is not there. It is there, but it is changed. So just the Honorable Member for Funi Brefet said, not all of us are from the same background. There are people who cannot even afford primary education. Now, if you said secondary education is not going to be free, then it is not going to be available for all Gambians. And then we all have the right to education. I think somebody made mention of empowerment start in education. Empowerment start in education. We are trying to empower the Gambian people. So if we are doing so, I think we have to maintain that 2020 draft constitution, which talks about free education for secondary education should be free for all children in the Gambia here. Honorable Speaker, do yomba because so all the system in Gambia education bi yomb man ma ngi senior secondary school la nek but then suma pare suma senior secondary school dama adam Gambia college or dama adam university or any tertiary institution suma buge gene suma post fay ko dem ko duma ko mun and then I'm a good product and then there are also good products down there. So there are many people whom you know that they have graduated but then what is keeping them still in their home is because of lack of money. They don't have any scholars, they don't have anybody to pay for them. And then this tuition fee, university tuition fee is expensive. Gambia College now is expensive. And then they are trying to reform the system to update it. So I will speak.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Member, thank you very much. The other motion also, I don't want to preempt, but also speaks on the Constitution. So you will have more time to speak on other chapters and sections of the Constitution. Thank you very much. I now call on the Honorable Member for Lower Nyomi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. In accordance with Section 16D of the Standing Order, I would like to take reference of my keynotes.
You might go ahead, Honorable Member for Nyomi.
Honorable Speaker, I would like to give my submission based on Clause 14 of the 2020 Draft Constitution and Clause 13 of the 2024 Draft Constitution. Chapter 14 of the 2022, Clause 297, 1C, which talks about the obligation of the state to the youth, providing adequate funding. When you look at the 2024, Clause 269, 1C, the word adequate was removed. My submission is that I think the word adequate should be maintained, because when you look at the issue of security in this country, it's as a result of unemployment, migration, and also high crime rate, use of drugs. So because of lack of funding or inadequate funding to support young people affairs, we have the rate of unemployment, which is leading to irregular migration, where we keep on losing our young people. And most of the times, when these people embark on this journey, they are returned back. When they come back, they are not integrated, thereby causing high crime rate, use of drugs, and others. And also, Chapter 6 in the 2020, and also Chapter 5 in the 2024 Clause 50 and Clause 42C, respectively, that talks about freedom of assembly. Provide for the rights of assembly. When you look at the 2020, it says provide for the freedom of assembly. But when you look at the 2024, Clause 42, Honorable Speaker, I would like to be treated specially like others. I would like to be given 5 minutes, please, to continue my speech.
But Honorable Member, this is not happened to me.
Honorable Member for Sabah Sanjal, kindly respect the proceedings of the House. You cannot just be promptly on in your mics. Please, Honorable Members. Honorable Member, you have 30 minutes to wrap up, 30 seconds, sorry, to wrap up.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The reason why I am quoting this section of the draft constitution is that because when we have restriction to talk about young people affairs in this country, there are always limitations. Like I will take reference from our arrest where we were talking about the ferry issue. Because of such restriction, we were not able to demonstrate our constitutional right. And also young people were affected. And because of that, there was limited peace and security in this country. So I think there should be no restriction.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Lower Nyomi. May I now call on the Honorable Member for Combo South. Come again.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. For the best interest of the time, I would like to dwell more in the area of the qualification for the presidents and other important positions like the minister and other stuff. Looking at the 2020 draft, it has provided a benchmark for the president, at least a minimum of degree. But for that of 2024 draft is open or very limited to secondary school qualification. So, but it's very important that we put it to consideration. Academic benchmarks are very important. They promote ethical leadership. They promote accountability. So, considering the kind of education that our system is providing for, we want to elect such an individual, only putting a benchmark to secondary school education. Honorable members, is that fair? So it's very important that we align ourselves to the realities of what is happening in the Gambia or elsewhere. Again, coming down to the equal representations of constituencies, 2020 draft did not cater for the opportunity whereby we can have electoral boundaries. Considering Combo South as a constituency, we have about, according to the IEC, we have about 75,000 registered voters. If you accumulate that, that alone, the number is more than almost 5 accumulative districts. So you realize that there is no justice in terms of representation. There should be a correct demarcation to ensure that
Thank you so very much, Honorable Member for Combo South. May I now call on Honorable Member for Bakau?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. So since we do not have enough time, I will not want to be wasting my time to search for the numbers. I'll just go straight to the point. So what I want to address here is in the 2024 draft constitution, we have the Chief Justice being non-Gambian. That is, when the president that is supposed to assume office dies before assuming the office, if the 2024 constitution says if the Chief Justice is non-Gambian, then a Gambian will be there. That means there can be a non-Gambian who will be a Chief Justice officer in the Gambia, and I think that clause will be out. That is, we should not have any non-Gambian that will be a Chief Justice officer. The second one is the spouse of the president. That is, the spouse of the president should declare all the assets and the assets that the spouse is interested in. Because when you look at it in the 2024 draft constitution, it states that the spouse of the president should not declare their assets. And I think it's something that is very, very important. The spouse of the president should declare all the assets and the assets they are interested in. Simply because we know that when we have the presidents, then, or let's say female presidents, their spouses have privileges that comes with the positions. That is, they have their foundations and other stuff. So we need to know the assets that they have before they resume those positions. They have access to those positions. And after the positions, we need to know the assets they have to stop that corruption. The last part I want to talk about is the issue of the head of the IEC and the appointment. That is, the appointment of the ministers should be subjected to the approval of the NA, which is not part of the 2024 draft constitution, and I want it to be back there. The last one I want to talk about is the right to education. The minister is giving justification that the right to education should be removed because they will not be able to afford it, which is not something. To regulate. But I am suggesting that they bring it back and then say that we need to notify the police if we want to demonstrate so they can be there to make sure there is security and other stuff, but not to take approval from
Thank you, Honorable Member for Bakau. Thank you so very much. Honorable Member for Lower Badibu.
I'll 5 minutes, Kenya. Okay, Assalamu alaikum to you all. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. As on our discussion, we are discussing about the Constitution which is a very important. I would like to take in a different dimension, you know, as the Constitution is referring or should be a tool that reflect our needs and aspirations as citizens. So, you know, going forward as a nation, we must look at both ends. It should be all inclusive, all sectors, all walk of life, everybody should be included in the Constitution. I will take my discussion on the most important part of the civil servant, if not most, but among the most, that is the teachers. Looking at the draft Constitution, and then recently there was a bill that was brought to this Assembly, National Assembly, that is the Teacher Service Commission. And then it was not looked into or wasn't considered. So I would like to put this forward to the members of the House and then for other people watching, because when you look at the teachers or the educational sector, if this place is compromised, we are compromising the whole lot of development. There will be no development without proper education, and proper education cannot be achieved without, you know, the educational system being lucrative. People must be promoted. The teachers who are teaching must be well motivated. Everything in the system must be at standard. But looking presently, you know, there are various sectors that, you know, people are complaining. Sometimes when you go to the schools, people will complain of test. Okay, I would like to put it forward, like the Teacher Service Commission would have been a better opportunity for the teachers to be treated separately. That is to create a service, a scheme for them, at least to fill in the gap with other civil servants. Because in the teaching fraternity, you don't got an opportunity to attend certain workshops or other things. You are always in the classroom. While in other places, you got another opportunities to do that. So that's why most of the teachers who are teaching, they remain at their other status up to retirement. They could not build a better life. Another part also, which is also very important, they are very important part of citizens, which were rarely considered. Those are the farmers. I think the farmers also in the Constitution, they should be captured. They should even be, they should be captured as a very important identity. Not like, you know, joining them all as citizens, but as figuring them out, because they are the ones that feed the nation. I think by providing them with loans, you know, perhaps loans, and then after harvesting, even if you cannot give them loans, their work that they have done, you support them on that. That is to whatever you say to them, you do it. Like if at all after farming, you complete your groundnut season, then you sell the groundnut, and then you sell the ground before you receive your money. It took time. So these are some of the frustrations that citizens down there are facing. So if this thing is being captured, the government will have been held on accountable for not fulfilling their promises in the Constitution, because the farmers are crying. Some of them have already farmed the end of season is coming, and they are in expectation that, you know, they will go to the seko, yela tiwol noto. So people are crying of this. So if this House and other members will look into this and put farmers as a few.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member, for your deliberation. May I now call on the Honorable Member for Combo East.
Thank you very much, the House. I don't think we have much time to dwell into specifics with regards to this Constitution, but I think as the younger generation, I think we'll appreciate the fact that Constitution building is a very daunting task, because this is a process that will require us to accommodate every voice, whether it is agreed upon or otherwise, whether you believe it is development, you know, interest or otherwise, because that's what democratic process requires. And after all, the liberals are quick to point that there is no use to a voice without power. But then, given the rejection, the fate of the 2020 draft, and then the disagreement that surrounds this one, I think one would appreciate how difficult it is to have a constitution. But in making a constitution, the young people and Gambians at large, I think what we need to put at the back of our mind is what is at stake. That in constitution making, development is at stake, the security, our security is at stake, the unity is at stake, and a host of other things. Now, with regards to this constitution, this draft 2024 constitution, without going into the specifics, I think it leaves a lot for reservations. Now, most of us grew to a constitution, that's the 1997 constitution, where we have so many reservations. We feel our voices are in so many ways stifled, but this one is to some extent no better, and we have so many reservations as young people. And that leaves a lot for concern. From the various clauses that are highlighted by honorable members here, the qualification for presidency, which compromises standards, the powers of the president to fire nominated members, which compromises parliamentary independence or the independence of the organs, and a host of other things that affect.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Combo East. May I now call on the Honorable Member for Brikama North.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Most of my points have been talked about, so I wouldn't go on to that. I just have to say, in as much as both the draft constitutions might have little issues, I would not choose the draft constitution 2024 over the 2021, because I believe that contains lesser errors and more perfection, even though little mistakes might be found by legal expertise in both the constitutions. But everyone has said this one, the first one, the 2020 draft constitution has outweighed the 2024 draft constitution. So that's what I would like to say. I would not choose the 2024 over the 2021. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Brikama North. May I now call on the Honorable Member for Latir Kunda Sabiji.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Before I start on my deliberation, I have a question to the young people of the Gambia. Do we want to still continue being governed by the 1997 Constitution? Is the draft 2024 more progressive than the 1997 Constitution? Are there provisions that allow us for amendments through the National Assembly for a more progressive and sustained country? If the answers to this are yes, then I believe we can have some level of compromise to be able to see the transition that we need and require for a sustainable and a more progressive nation. On that, Honorable Speaker, I would like to take a little shift on the aspect of presidential powers regarding the appointment of ministers. There is no president that is given mandate by people to govern the state in the Gambia that seeks the approval of the National Assembly to set up his or her cabinet. The danger to this is, if a president should seek the approval of the National Assembly before a minister is appointed, there is high tendency that there will be a lesser number for the sitting government, thereby creating an avenue for the National Assembly to retard the development of a state through the various ministries. So I would say, let's allow the presidents to set up their cabinet, because there are reforms that are available for us to be able to hold the presidents accountable. However, on the appointment of independent institutions, I would suggest that the heads of those institutions be subject to the approval of National Assembly, and this include, and not limited to, the IEC, and of course the Anti-Corruption Commission, and the National Human Rights Commission, and other independent institutions, thereby giving those the independent to be able to have our country governed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Can we now have Honorable Member for Nyamina Dankunku?
Good morning, Honorable Speaker. Sorry, we are in the afternoon. Okay, I just want to talk on one of the provisions which is removed from the 2024 draft constitution, which is the leadership and integrity. Honorable Speaker, if you can observe, in any leadership, if there is no integrity, well, I don't think whether there will be respect. A leader should at least have integrity. So the removal of this provision, it is something that people should look at. To me, I will suggest for it to be brought back, because a leader without honesty, a leader without responsibilities can always take advantage if this is not captured in our constitution. It should be brought back because a leader can decide anyhow he or she feels like to be if we don't have such clause in our constitution. Like, if you look at, for example, like sort of quote, Boris Johnson, the former Prime Minister of England, he was removed from power. He was impeached because of what? Of lies. Because of lies. So if the new draft constitution 2024 is not captured, this means that the government coming can still take advantage. They can decide what they feel like. They can give promises, and at the end, those promises will not be fulfilled. So I think the National Assembly should look at this point, and it's supposed to be bring back to this 2024 constitution.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Nyamina Dankunku. May I now call on the Honorable Member for Fonyi Bintang Karanai.
Good afternoon, everyone. Honorable Speaker, I would like to buttress on a little about the area that was mentioned by the motion mover regarding the inclusion of higher education, that is secondary school, not to be free. I would like to elaborate on a few of the advantages of including that clause to ensure that Gambians or students have flow of education from basic to secondary education, and if possible to the tertiary. One of the advantages that it will give is it will increase access to education. As you know, the average Gambian is very hard to even put food on table, talk less of sponsoring your child, okay? If a person should have 2 or 3 children, meaning you have to sponsor that individual from grade 9, okay? Or from grade 9, from basic education, from grade 10 up to grade 12, going to the tertiary institution. This will increase high dropout because most parents will not be able to afford in sponsoring their children to pursue into those higher education. We have even seen too many drop out from grade 12. Once, when there is still this free education, many people, when they reach grade 12, they will stop their education because of fun, okay? And these are the people who are involved in most of the criminal activities because they are not well informed about the society, okay? They have constraint in financial. So that leads to them to involve in other issues that are not meaningful, just to get their own finance for themselves in order to move on with their life. Another important
Honorable Member, you have 30 seconds to wrap up, please.
Another benefit for including this is it will promote it will reduce public health issues because an informed individual will be able to take care of his or her health and will be informed about the society. Also, it will also help to promote environmental awareness, which is the burning issue in the world now, the climate action. Someone who has not passed through educational levels will not be able to move into this aspect.
Thank you very much for those deliberations, Honorable Member for Fonyi Bintang Karanai. By the way, your constituency is it's the constituency name I like the most. I like pronouncing it. Can we have Honorable Member from Kantora?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and I say good afternoon to my fellow honorable members. Since there is not much time, I will go straight to the points that I want to elaborate on. If you look at the 2020 draft constitution, section 47, the draft includes states shall not penalize any person for any opinion or view or the content of any broadcast. Coming to the 2024 draft constitution, it has been removed or not included. I think, to my opinion, it is important we have this to ensure freedom of speech and we ensure that the media is free. Because without it, it will definitely limit the freedom of the media and encourage media censorship. So, Honorable Speaker, I urge the House to consider this and also make sure that it is included in the 2024 draft constitution. The other point I want to talk about is the right to education. I know it has already been deliberated, but I just want to add my voice, especially in the area that I come from. If you look at my area, that's Kantora, over the years, let me say recently, the number of students that are graduating from grade 12 has significantly increased due to the introduction of the SIG, which is School Improvement Grant. Because this grant has made education so cheap, let me say, not free, but so cheap that even the vast examination is paid by the government. And this has encouraged parents to keep their children in school and they graduate. So if you should remove how do I call it, free
30 seconds? Promise? Yes, please.
If this draft constitution do not include free secondary education, I am very sure the number of dropouts will increase because most of those farmers in my constituency will not be able to support their children from secondary education to tertiary education. So please, let's try and consider this clause. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. May we now have Honorable Member for Jokadu.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. I would like to start with the provision which says the principle of land, environment, and natural resources, which was in the 2020 Constitution and it is not in the 2024 Constitution. And then when we look at land and environment, it is paramount. It is very important as far as the country is concerned and the globe at large. Because if you see we are living safely, it's because of we are in healthy environment. Yeah. So this is why it is necessary to put it in the 2024 Constitution. It should be in the 2024 Constitution. Because we cannot have a sustainable future when we don't have a better environment and natural resources. Then we move to the next one, the one which says adequate funding for youths, as we constitute the largest part of the population. And the word adequate there is being removed in the 2024 Constitution, which should be brought back, I think. Because as we are the largest part, form the largest part of the distinct population, then we should have adequate funding. Then the other thing is the Teachers Service Commission, which is also very important. When you look at the teachers, they constitute, I think, the largest part of the civil servants, and they are doing tremendously well as far as the nation is concerned. And the workload which is bestowed on them, they are not getting that the amount of money which is expected from the government, that amount of money which is expected from the government. And you don't expect somebody who is not having that motivation, that proper motivation to deliver well in class.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member from Jokadu. May we now have Honorable Member from Fonyi Bondali.
Each one teach one, spread the word of love for the Gambia, our homeland. Honorable Speaker, I wish to draw my views on in the area of the clause which says political parties, in bracket, donors from foreign entities. In the draft constitution 2020 has prohibited the receiving of donors from the international bodies. But the 2024 draft brings it back that you should receive donors from outside bodies. You know, it is something that concerns me a lot, because if you are being funded by somebody outside for you to do your internal affairs, a day will come, they will try to dictate you to do things in their favor. To do things in their favor. So the reason why I said that the 2020 clause has to be brought back just to safeguard the issues of the country. Because I believe that whosoever will want to have a political party in this country, you must have that percentage of people. But that percentage,
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. May I now call on the Honorable Member for Central Badiou.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Thanks a million times. I'm saying thanks a million times because the area that I want to talk about is an area where we mention millions and billions. That is the loans. In the 2020 constitution, draft constitution, we talked about like the members of parliament in approving the loans. It should be like they should increase it to not even half, but 2/3 of the assembly should agree to the approval of a loan instead of just in the 2024 constitution, which just say majority. Like when you say majority, even when the assembly is 50, when you have 26, then it means that the majority have agreed, which I want like to be revisited, and then maybe to put 2/3 of the assembly to agree for loan to be approved. The reason is, like right now, the loans that the government is taking is too much. That is why we need to visit that portion of the constitution. The other area is citizenship. Chapter 4, clause 16(1), citizenship by registration, which talks about in the 2020 draft that a person who is in the country or who is married to a Gambian should be not less than, like in the 2024 is a not less than 10 years. That is too much. I think like for the 2022 should be adopted, which is not less than 5. Because like if you look at the nature of the Gambia, we do marry foreigners, and then when they come, for that time is too long. Like it means that they will be here and they will be treated as foreigners for 10 years, which is too much. And then in having health facilities is always difficult because they are treated as foreigners. And then even in the birth registration, like the child, for the child to have documents.
130 seconds. Can you conclude quickly?
Yes, that is it. And also, finally, I would also like to agree with what the Honorable Member for Birkama North says. That is, I would choose the 2020 to be adopted instead of the 2024 by the parliamentarians. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. May I now call on Honorable Member for Bundunka Kunda.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Okay, my submission will be a form of recommendation. So let's look at section 48, subsection 1A of the 2024 draft constitution, which state, from birth to a name, acquire a nationality, and subject to legislation enacted in the best interest of the child to know and be cared by their parents. Looking at it, this is a good one, but it needs to be specific. You know, right now, our constitution, it stated that if your parents are not Gambian, meaning you are not a citizen of the Gambia, which is very difficult, and it's affecting us and it's affecting me, because I still did not have access to my birth certificate because I could not locate my father's document. So looking at the nationality, nationality is a fundamental human right that allows individuals to be recognized as part of a nation, giving them access to legal protection and opportunities within that country. So meaning if we have a child that is born here and both parents are not Gambian, meaning that child did not have access to legal protection, either our healthcare system and education. So I would recommend the responsible body to look at that, to look into that, because it's something that is very important. And looking at the Article 15 of the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights, which stated that everyone has the right to nationality and should not be deprived from it. As a child, if you are deprived from your nationality, meaning you will not have full access, you will not have a nationality. Because if you are, for instance, if you are born in the United States, for that one you have automatic nationality. So if you are in the Gambia, you are born here, you are not given the nationality of the Gambia. So which country are you going to be? I will urge the government to take measures to prevent statelessness by ensuring children born in the country to obtain nationality and irrespective of their parents' national status. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. May I now call on Honorable Member for Joshua?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. So I would also want to deliberate on Clause 39 of the 2020 Draft Constitution, which is Clause 31 of the 2024 Draft Constitution, which is on protection of liberty. So the duration in this clause regarding detention has been increased to 72 hours in the 2024 draft, which is maintaining the detention hours in Clause 19 of the 1997 Constitution. So detaining someone for an extended period without charges infringes on their right to personal liberty. International human rights standards, which Gambia has ratified, emphasizes that individuals should not be deprived of their freedom without a just cause. So individuals are presumed innocent until proven guilty. So the prolonged detention without charges undermines this principle and can lead to unjust treatment, because detaining someone up to 72 hours is definitely not preventing abuse of power, because there is likelihood of coercive interrogation practices and violation of human rights by law enforcement officers. And also, this prolonged detention can have psychological impact, which can cause anxiety, depression, and trauma. So shorter periods like the 48 hours on the 2020 draft constitution can help mitigate these impacts. And also limited detention time encourages law enforcement to act promptly and efficiently in gathering evidence and building a case, which can lead to a more effective justice process. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. May I now call on Honorable Nominated Member for Persons Living with Disability?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And I would just want to request if you can extend my time a little bit. You all know the community that I am representing has been neglected in this country for so long. So talking issues about them, I think it will need some time to talk about. So I know, Constitution, it's very, very important because it dictates how our nations and states will be developed. So depends on the laws we put in our constitution will determine how progressive our development will be. And the moment we have progressive development, then there'll be progressive inclusion. And if there is progressive inclusion, then there'll be progressive empowerment. So I would make my submissions around, both 2020 draft constitution and also 2024 draft constitution. If you look at chapter 6, section 75 of 2024, draft constitution, Roman figure, subsection E talks about promoting, rights of persons with disabilities, women and young people in terms of political participation. But the same, there's another Roman figure E that talks about, in terms of political parties identifying candidates for any forms of election, at least 10% of people identified to contest in any form of elections, at least 10% of them should be young people. This is very, very important. We know the young people with disabilities are part of the youthful population, but the reality is, when it comes to participation full-time, can we compete with people without disabilities or young people without disabilities in order to handle those positions in any form of government? So what we want to say is that, or recommendation I want to give is that, I think there should be a specific, provision in the Constitution that will look at disability specifically. Because, disability needs to be considered different from any sector. Because when it comes to political participation, it's very, very important for us. That's where we can able to talk about issues affecting us and remind the government of their responsibility in terms of promoting our lives and our well-being. So I want to request if the National Assembly can come up with sort of a percentage system or maybe a quota system to say maybe 3% of or 2% of candidates being identified by political parties in the Gambia, at least 3% of them should be persons with disabilities. Now at least you are giving them chance to participate full-time and we can have more of representation. Because I know in 1997 Constitution, the president has the power to nominate 5 members. Amongst them can be persons with disabilities. That is left to the president to decide. So could you imagine if you have a political, ideological, fragmentation with the president's agenda, meaning even you are called to the parliament for the first term, because of your difference, you may not be called back for the second time. And as we speak, there is no person with disability representing people with disabilities in the National Assembly. So meaning, we are totally neglected in terms of decision-making processes in this country. So I think we need proper representation, and it should start with us, the young people. Even within NYP, in our various constituencies, when we are, conducting elections, whether regionally or, at our constituency level, do we even include them to come participate? Do we need to wait for GFD to only identify 2 people to come represent us? Why can't we include them? And the other thing I want to talk about is about, educational system. There is a lot of discriminatory, educational development in this country. All of you know about it, but you neglect it. Many times, young people speak out. They rarely talk about disability. A lot of people give submissions here, but none of you even mention about disability community. Unless you are affected or your father.
Please continue, Honorable. Kindly on your mic and continue.
Thank you very much. So there is a lot of things that need to be adjusted. If you said, education or tertiary education or secondary education will not be free for young Gambians. Imagine women or parents with disabilities and their children who are not employed. How do you expect these people to educate their children? Where will they get education? For me, free education means it's an access to free knowledge. And that's what we need as young people. We need to be well-equipped intellectually so we can be able to participate productively. So I think that clause needs to be looked at, and it should be brought back to the Constitution so we can have free access to education. And the other thing about education is educational accessibility for students with disabilities. In all schools, we have seen some philanthropists, I don't want to mention names, but we have seen some philanthropists building classrooms for schools within regions in the Gambia. Sometimes they build classrooms without no ramps. They are story building classrooms, and wheelchair users with disabilities cannot be able to access those classrooms. I think it is the responsibility of the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education to also set standards in terms of building classrooms, in terms of bringing about educational development. Let it be inclusive and accessible for everybody, and mostly in tertiary institutions. Because during my consultation with young people with disabilities in tertiary institutions, especially University of the Gambia, many of them complain about accessibility, not only to physical environment, but even to the personnel. Do we train our professors at the university level to be disability friendly, so they can be able to take care of students with disabilities? So there is a lot that needs to be done in our educational setting, so we can able to accommodate young people with disabilities to able to get better education, because that's the only tool we have. That's the only thing we can rely on. Imagine if I was not educated. Imagine if all the people that with disabilities doing great in this country, if they are not educated. We don't want to be beggars on the street. But sadly in the Gambia you have only two options. Either you have to be a beggar on the street or you be a teacher. Because this is possible because we understand that at the time the head of School of Education at the college sees a person with disability, so she sympathizes people with disabilities. But we don't want to be sympathized. We have a lot of potential. So, but if we are not given opportunity, you wouldn't able to know exactly, you wouldn't able to examine our level of participation. Give us opportunities. There's a lot that we can able to do. If you compare Gambia to other countries in West Africa, these were British colonies, like Ghana. They have a lot of standard system of education that every person within any community can access. Gambia can do the same thing, but everybody neglect this sector. So I'm calling on to the government, and most importantly our lawmakers, because they hold our future. The future of persons with disabilities lies in your hands. It's through the laws that you make or you enact will determine how our lives will be, will determine the life of my child if she happens to or he happens to have disability. So we need to look into our laws properly and also consider disability and treat it specifically so we can have perfect inclusive society. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Thank you very much for those deliberations. May I now call on Honorable Member Fanyani.
Okay. Thank you so very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. So the things I wanted to say, people have already said, but that will not prevent me from saying it. I think it is very important here, which is right to education. Honorable Speaker, when you look at the things, education is very important in our lives. So I think government officials now, they are telling the people now, let the poor remain the poor, rather rich also remain rich. Simply I say that you, like I, myself, we are a farmer, and we said agriculture is the backbone of the country. When the farmers are not having any support, so you expect that that particular farmer is having 2 or 3 children, that he or she should send those one at the school. And at the end of the day, the guy didn't have anything, and you expect that those children also to go and pay the school fees. So it is another problem. And also, to my own perspective, it is going to promote child marriage. To my places or some places, when girl child is not going to school, the only thing they will say, "By Samantar Takan Karamundo, Karamu Jorodi, Alke Diala Tafutu, can do Fentablo Konajabi Menkel." So I think they should look these things very crucially. Go to Gambia College Basena. Currently, maybe December you go there. Many people will start schooling. When they say this one, education, they come for money. Majority of them you will see take their luggage and leave the college. Simply, they do not have 14,000 to pay their money. So talk less of high school to bring a money issue in order for us to have land quality access to land. So I think government, we should at least beg or tell government. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Nyani constituency. May I now call on Honorable Member for Opanyomi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. I would just make my submission on the issue of the Teacher Service Commission. Because if you look at the 2020 draft constitution, there was the Teacher Service Commission, but you look at the 2024 draft constitution, it is removed. And this is telling you that as a country, we are not serious for development, because there is no country that can develop without proper education. So if you don't have the Teacher Service Commission to look at the affairs of the teachers, to look at the affairs of learning, I mean, where, for example, teachers are posted far away, in the remotest area in this country, where other civil servants would not want to go. But teachers are posted there, and still they are struggling with life. So, if we said there must be a teacher service commission, the government don't have the commitment to make sure that there is a commission that will look at the matters of teachers so that we can have quality education, because of there is no country that can develop without proper education. Education is needed for development. Our TVEC centers or whatever it is, we need to be educated as a country so that we can develop. But we have observed that the government decided to remove the Teacher Service Commission, which was captured in 2020, so that at least the matters of teachers can be looked at, can be discussed, so that we can have quality education at public schools. I mean, this past examination is a very good manifestation. You look at private schools, students are doing well, but still, I mean, students in public schools struggle because of there are a lot of issues that need to be addressed, and those issues can only be addressed by having a Teacher Service Commission, and that commission would look at the affairs of teachers and make sure that teachers' issues are prioritized. Some are in the field because of they don't see other greener pastures. If they see anything better than teaching, they will leave. Most of our young pragmatic teachers left of the poor remuneration. That's why they leave. It's not that they don't have passion for teaching. It's because of the payment is very small. It's ask good, ask no salary. So as a result, I think governments will have the commitment to bring back the Teacher Service Commission so that we can, because we cannot develop if we don't have quality education, and we cannot achieve quality education based on rhetorics. We need to be, serious as a country to make sure that, we bring Teacher Service Commission, welfare of teachers are prioritized because they are very important. But in this country, for example, after finishing grade 12, your parent would say, okay, so I'm a teacher in Sajela. Yeah. Are you serious as a nation? Because you cannot compromise education if you want to develop. That's the reality. People need to be educated. And when we say education, this includes, diverse skills. We have seen countries like China. 3 decades ago, it was a backward country. Today, they are developing. The economy is booming because of education, and these include Tibet centers. So as a country, if we want to develop, please, let us make sure that our issue of education, issue of teachers are prioritized. Because without this, it's going to be very difficult. So I would urge the government to have the commitment to bring back the Teacher Service Commission so that it can look at the affairs of the teachers. The other area I want to talk is the issue of term limits. I think this also needs to be brought back. 2020, it was captured. 2024, it is removed. So I believe if people at the grassroots in their institutions, they have term limit for their leaders, why not?
Point of observation, please. If you would allow me.
Who is raising the point of observation? Yes, Honorable Member for Latrikunda Savage, Honorable Member for Opanyome, kindly resume your seat.
So I just wanted to clarify that the 2024 draft actually has term limit. As the member mentioned that it does not have, but it's actually there. Term limit is captured.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Latrikunda. That is duly noted. Honorable Member for Opanyome, you may please proceed.
For
and take note of that observation.
Yeah, it's important. Yes, if it is captured, but like there's some changes. They made changes. For example, they said it has to start from the person who was ruling the last 5 years. Have to be considered from there. But that part is removed. That's what I wanted to say. So I believe, issue of term limit need to be encouraged, and it has to be there because of the best dancer knows when to leave the stage. But if you continue ruling for decades, people will be tired of you, and obviously going to be difficult for you to satisfy them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. May I now call on Honorable Nominated Member for West Coast Region.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. I'm excited because I don't have much to say or argue on both of the draft constitutions, because looking at the 2020 and the 2024 draft constitution has captured in section
47, 74, 75, and 125 respectively have captured women representation, which is very important because considering the fact that last sittings we did talk about the quota system and the need for women to have a percentage of representation to promote inclusivity, to ensure that they're able to take part in decision-making processes that concerns them. So me seeing that in both the 2020 and the 2024 draft constitution is a milestone and a step forward. Notwithstanding, it is important that maybe, I don't know which of these two are coming into existence or into reality, but if any of these comes, it's also important that for government to be reminded of their commitments, because they've made various commitments on behalf of women of this country. For example, we are committed to the AU Agenda 2063, the CEDAWs, the Beijing Plus 30s, and the 12 critical areas of the Beijing Plus 30. So it is important that we have women representation in parliament, not just in parliament, but in government institutions, to ensure that the idea of the quota system has been inculcated in whatsoever we are doing, to ensure that women are able to take part in decision-making processes that concerns them. We don't want men to sit and be deciding on our behalf, because we've seen, for example, the FGMC case, how many members of parliament are women that are able to even come together to talk about women issues and our reproductive health and rights. So it is important that we are able to make informed decisions about our bodies or whatsoever is on the decision-making table about us. So with this, I think it's a step forward. I mean, we need to clap for the draft constitution, women that are here, both of these, because it is pushing forward our agenda of quota system. So basically, that's it for me.
Thank you very much, Honorable. May I now call on Honorable Member for Kiang West.
Thank you, Honorable. It's so sad seeing the removal of the Teacher Service Commission from the draft 2024 Constitution, and it is very important for us as teachers to have this commission. And Honorable Speaker, the issue of basic and secondary education should be free. I think the government should take that burden and try to make it free for across the country. Because if you check, I could recall 1990 when Galba Kuyate COVID the song Monente Jakalindi, school fees, Monente Jakalindi. So if the government did not make this thing free, the high tendency of dropout from school will increase, and we are complaining for youth unemployment because of so many reasons. So I strongly suggest to the government to ensure that the basic and secondary education to be free. Why not? Still now, what are we waiting? Even we don't still have a minister. Is that position waiting for someone to come and occupy? Do we not have potential government to occupy that position? Yes, we have. We have position is waiting for someone to come and occupy. We have members in the ministry or even the higher education who can handle that position. So why not we don't have ministers still now? And I will go back to the issue of recall. In the 2020 Constitution, it has been mentioned there, the president has right to appoint but not to remove a member of parliament as a nominated member. But in this draft 2024, it was ignored, it was not captured. So if that is done, it will undermine the principle of check and balance and separation of power that we are all advocating for as Gambian, as good governance. So I think we as Gambian, we elect the president to serve for the people. Likewise, the president also nominate those people to serve the Gambians. So there should not be a conflict of interest. As far as he nominate those people to be part of the National Assembly, they should be serve the interests of the Gambia and not him as a president. And I think that clause should be brought back to in the Constitution.
I would like to say that the government should revisit this because it should be specific as to what type of foreign donors are they talking about here. But then also to conclude, again, I would say that the draft Constitution 2024 I would prefer than the draft Constitution 2020 because it has also represented the rights of women, and then the quota system has also been provided in the draft Constitution 2024. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. May I now call on Honorable Member for Jara West.
Good afternoon, everyone. Honorable Speaker, the matter of education, especially at the senior school level, cannot be underemphasized. If senior school level or senior education is not free, you are limiting the number of doctors. You are limiting the number of Chief Justice, as people are saying it must be outside. You are limiting the number of pilots. You are limiting the number of prominent position holders in this country in the future generation, which means still we are going back to our colonies or whatsoever, because if your people or if your citizens don't acquire that kind of educational background, still you have to employ people outside the country and be your doctors. You pay them huge number of money or amount of money, still your money is going outside and your citizens cannot benefit from those benefits. What the government has to do is like to cut some of their expensive. I know it's not nice, it's not easy, but the Parados and the Range Rovers and also has something to do in this free education stuff. We have to endeavor, let the government put in measures we can promote our education so that we have university graduates. We have graduates from Oxford, even have scholarship outside the country from the government to sponsor us. But then you will not have that if you don't reach to grade 10 to grade 12. You cannot proceed to grade 12. You cannot proceed to the tertiary level if you don't even have a secondary background education, which means we are limiting the number of graduates at the university level, limiting the number of graduates at the college level, limiting the graduates from other tertiary level, which means still we're just going from back to back. Education is the backbone for any surviving country. To follow. So, government nyanta minkele yambala li dorong ye free education on Murundi na mandia nyawanyarandi asikeno, but then we have to sacrifice something for something. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. At this point, I will call on a second round for raising of tax, not for those that speak, for those that have not speak yet.
Honorable Speaker.
Yes.
I feel like, I've been caught when I was
Honorable Member, what are you standing on?
Point of observation.
Yes, please, carry on.
Because I feel like I've been caught when I was doing my deliberation, because I can see to that some members have more than 2 minutes. And I was stopped. So can you please allow me to flow?
Thank you, Honorable Member, for Fonyi Bondale. Can we have the second round of raising of tax for those that have not spoken yet? Clerks, please help record this.
Sorry, Honorable Speaker, in absence of that, I want to beg you. Yeah, sorry, in the absence of any tags raised for the second round, I just want to beg your indulgence to use 15 seconds to 20 to say something. Thank you very much.
So, thank you very much, Honorable Member. So we have 3 tags.
Point of observation.
Yes, Honorable Member for Bakau.
Yes, I would also equally want to indulge you to give me at least 2 minutes.
But two members have already raised that point of observation. Or everybody want to raise
I
the same
mean,
point of observation.
we already have 3 tags. That means the number of people that have not speak is not many. So I just,
Yes,
this one
so
is
when
very
they
important.
speak first, as a house,
Yes.
we will decide what next. But let's give them also the opportunity to speak first. Please. Thank you. Yes, can we start with Honorable Member for Sandu before I get the record of the tax?
Assalamu alaikum to you all. Honorable Speaker, thank you for giving me the floor. I think all what we have discussed, these are things that are really affecting us. Sidelining them, from the new draft constitution is going to be something that is going to affect us in the future. All right. So on my constituency, talking about the educational side and also the farming, equipments, fertilizers and so on, in order for them to carry out their farming activities. These are key things that government need to help us on that. Like the Honorable Speaker for Lower Badebu, said about these sectors for their goods, the groundnuts that they normally sell out for the payment or delay is also another contributing factor in order for them to sponsor their students, their children into higher level of education. And if now the government is saying that education is not free, it's going to be another contributing factor for a lot of drops out and so forth, like others parliamentarians has mentioned. I think these are things that are affecting us in our area. The welfare of teachers also is very key, to motivate them in order for them to effectively perform their duties in the classroom, because a teacher that is not well motivated to be in the classroom is going to be another contributing factor to the delay or to functions of the teacher in the classroom and poor performance of students in the class. All right. So I think it's also important for the government to introduce IT on the educational system from the grassroots level. Looking at my constituency, is very difficult for the a children or a student from grade 1 to grade 12 will become a graduate without even punching a keyboard of the
Thank you, Honorable Member for Sandu. May I now call on Honorable Member for Nyanija?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. And the topic under discussion is very, very important as far as we are concerned as a country. Constitution is very, very fundamental because it is the one that governs us as a country. It is the one that determines how we are going to be governed. So therefore, it is very, very important. Though drafting a constitution is very, very challenging, and then therefore, I will urge every good citizen of this country. It is incumbent upon us to go through the constitution, both the 2020 draft and the 2024 gazetted constitution, to make check and balances, because there are things that are very, very key, that are very, very paramount, which have been, some have been deleted and some did not surface. Let me say, put it that way. Some did not surface on the 2024 draft, which are very, very key. Because if you look at it, the 2020 draft was very, very participatory, because everyone was involved in the process. All right, even the diaspora were involved. So I think those things that have been raised by the citizens should not be just removed by a group of the society. All right. So I think bringing back, let me talk on the right of education. Education is very, very key, and there is no nation that can develop in the absence of education. So therefore, education, the right to education should be free and compulsory. All right? Every child, Gambian child, irrespective of your race, your religion, the type of disabilities that you should have access to uninterrupted education. From lower basic, upper basic, and secondary education should be uninterrupted, even tertiary. But secondary school education in the 2024 grad is not something that is telling well, looking at the economic status of this country. people are finding it very difficult to put food on the table. Much more putting the burden of people, people to pay tuition fees for their children. It's going to be very, very difficult.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. May I now call on Honorable Member for Sani Mentere.
Good afternoon, Honorable Speaker, and all other colleagues, honorable members here present. The topic under discussion is a very important one because we are discussing about a possible national document for adoption, which is the Draft Constitution 2024. Well, I'll be doing a great disservice to the drafters of this draft constitution if I condemn it in totality. Well, there is a particular clause that really struck me hard, and that is clause 88, subsection 4, that has to do with National Assembly confirmation of approvals of presidential appointments. I think this should be introduced in the draft 2024 because of three key reasons. When we omit this section and we allow the president to appoint people to political office without scrutiny, that is going to breed political expediency. The president might appoint people just to advance his own political interests, and we have seen so much of that. I think the time is now to stop that. Another one is, it might also encourage political patronage, where allies are given political positions, even though they are not qualified. And we know the result for this. The result is incompetence. And when we have incompetent people manning our political offices, we know what we have in return is poor service delivery. Finally, I have a strong appeal to all the stakeholders involved in this constitutional building process. First, to the politicians. This is a national call to duty. Please don't politicize the draft constitution 2024. This is a time to rise and shine. We must pull in one direction with our resources and our technical power. And to the National Assembly members, already you are on the wrong side of history. Mother Gambia is whimpering, not knowing what to expect, because she was distraught. You refuse us in 2020. Don't refuse Mother Gambia in 2024. To the citizens, this draft is for us. We should not take a back seat. What is for us, we must be involved. Let us not be dormant. Let us embrace what is for us. Let us voice out our discontent. Where we agree with them, let us give them a tap. And when we are not satisfied, let them know we are not satisfied with clauses that are not in our interest. Honorable Speaker and fellow honorable members, I rest my case.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Sani Mentere. May I now call on Honorable Member for Lower Floodou West.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I want to take the opportunity to remind members in the chambers that we are here to represent youth from our various constituencies. We are here to speak on their behalf. And then looking at the newly drafted 2024 Constitution, comparing it to 2022, you could obviously see that in majority, or let's say the highest percentage of it is favoring those from the higher positions. Why am I saying this? The Constitution that was built or that was brought in 2022, like members have mentioned, involved...
Sorry, Honorable Member, we do not have a 2022 draft.
Sorry.
What we used to have was the 2020 draft.
2020 draft, please excuse me, involves decisions, statements from individuals from almost every part of the country, which includes the diaspora, yeah? And this one, like the Honorable Member for Sarah Mentereng mentioned, is just from a set group, which means it possibly might not carry the interest of almost, or let's say, high percentage of the citizen. So which means the voices of individuals that these leaders represent, they look at it as something that does not matter. So rather than considering the drafted constitution for 2024, why not we go to that which people or citizens from the country have decided that this is what we want to rule us. This is what we want to go forward. This is the step we want to take for national development. So I think that is the point I have. And also using the opportunity to challenge us as members, challenge youths out there that are looking at me today, that we should remind ourselves when we get into these positions, we should not serve political benefits, but instead serve benefits of what is going to develop a nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. May I now call on Honorable Member for Brikama South.
Good afternoon, Madam Speaker, and to all the honorable members here present. I wouldn't, of course, have much to say because almost everything has been said, but consider the fact that whatever is said is important, we will continue to re-echo our voices. And I will start with what the honorable member for San Mentor has just said, to appeal to the stakeholders of this process, for all of us to play our part in ensuring that we have a new constitution, because at the end of the day, it is everyone's failure if you do not have one, because we all agree that there's a need to have one. For what has happened in the past has, and if someday, if tomorrow will come, where we will reflect to say to each other we have done it, we might have two things to thank that for. That is compromise and perseverance. And for that we will call on all stakeholders to compromise at some point, and to all of us who are in one way or the other player in this case to contribute in the process, just so that we reach there. On the issue of free education, just as everyone has mentioned, I think it's a concern that has been removed. If we can have countries like Ghana, countries like Sierra Leone, not only stopping at providing free education, but also providing uniforms, I think it is a great step. It is not what we would hope for from any of our governments, just to remove or to attempt to remove free education. And we have not only these two countries, but we have Senegal, we have Togo, we have Benin. All these countries are in the West African bloc, and all of them are having free education. What we should have hoped for was, in addition to what they are providing, maybe to in fact say now we are going to in fact subvent more to the Arabic school education system, just to ensure if it is not going to be free, but also we subvent it to make it much more affordable. The failure to do some of these things has.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Members, I want to put a proposal forward, and that is for some of us that previously raised a point of observation to allow members to speak. Can we please keep that for the second motion, and you can make your deliberations under the second motion so that we are able to go on break on time, have our lunch, do our prayers, and come back to the House on time.
Sorry, Honorable Speaker, this one would not take
Please
more
stand
than...
up, Honorable Member.
Yeah, this would not take more than 15-20 seconds. I just want to do it before you move the motion of... before you put the question.
How many of you? Honorable Member for Brikama North, Honorable Member for Bakau, and Honorable Member for Fonyi Bondale. Please carry on, Honorable Member for Brikama.
Yeah, so, I know it's easier for me personally to say aye than to say no. So when the question is put, it's easily, people are usually carried. So, but I just want to say, a lot of people have been talking about accepting and amending. I just want to put to the notice of the honorable members that amendment is not as easy, because Parliament is made up of groups of individuals that have political interests. So if a set has a political interest of advancing a particular clause, you pass it, saying it would be amended. Again, it will come back here, it will be tabled, and it's going to be voted against. So if we are pushing, members have mentioned a plethora of points that they think are supposed to not be part of the 2024 because they are not supposed to be removed from the 2020 because they think those are perfect. So, but some members are saying we just pass the 2024 and later change them. More than hundreds of points have been mentioned. To amend all of them is going to take us time, and it's not going to happen. I can promise you that. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member.
Point of observation, Honorable Speaker.
Just
Honorable
10
member
seconds,
for-
10 seconds.
Honorable Member for Bakau, Honorable Member for Serekunda, kindly off your mic.
Honorable Member, thank you. Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. So the point that I want to raise here is still going to be on the removal of the president by impeachment. That is, when you look at the tribunal that will be formed, the Constitution is saying that we are going to have the Supreme Islamic Council, the Christian Council, the Medical and Dental Council, and we are also going to have the Gambia Chamber of Commerce. My question is, what are these people doing in the tribunal of the impeachment of the president? If the impeachment of the president is going to be a tribunal where they are going to look at the policies and laws that has to do with what the president violates. So what are these people doing there? And I think this committee or the people that they propose should be changed to experts and people that have experience in things that are related to impeaching the president. The second clause I also want to talk about is the clause 136.2, where the president, the National Assembly will comprise of 53 members from constituencies, 7 women representatives from each region, and 2 persons with disability. Now, if we have that, why do we need the president to nominate 5 people, and what are those 5 people going to do? I would suggest that we have those 5 people to be young people, but not nominated by the president. But those 5 will be young people that will be representing the young people, but the president will not nominate those 5 people. Because at some extent, the president has the power to remove these nominated members. That is, if the president say, ha, you say, you are out. And then that is like, you cannot go against the president. Please, the last one is the prison. The last time the members of the youth parliament went to the prison, and then you will find a prisoner that will tell you, that means they are not taken care of. And I think they should have vote so that the president that is coming will also consider that there are voters here and I need to take care of them if I come or if I want to maintain an office.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Bakau. May we now have Honorable Member for Fonyi Bondali.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. What I was saying is, for a political party to be well established, I believe in this country, if you want to form your own political party, you are destined or you are commanded to pay $1 million so that you can able to form the political party of your own. The reason why I am saying that, the 2020 drafts, 2020 clause should be brought back is that, somebody outside can tell a ghetto youth, some percentage of ghetto youth that form your political party, I will sponsor you underground. At the end of the day, they will come up with ideas that when they became the government of the day, they will come up with ideas that that it will not be for the interest of the people, but it's going to be for the interest of somebody who is feeding you under. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. I am taking Honorable Member for Serekunda and Honorable Member for Sanjal, and then we give it to the mover of the motion. Yes, Honorable Member for Serekunda.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I just wanted to...
Point of observation. Honorable Speaker, I'm not Honorable Member for Sanjal, Honorable Member for Sabak Sanjal.
Thank you, Honorable Member. You can resume your seat. Honorable Member for Serekunda, you can please proceed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I just want to make this very fast. Just an observation on the discussion, especially my Honorable Member that just sat down on the issue. For us as a country and as also youth, we are very much interested in a new constitution. To be honest, we are not really satisfied with the 1997 constitution. And if we want a new country, a country that would be directed with the interests of the youth, to be honest, right now than ever, we need the 2024 to come to life. What we can do is to negotiate. It's a give and take. You understand? We cannot do the tactic that we did in 2020 to say to our representatives that are the National Assembly, we are the ones that elected them. To be honest, sometimes I believe that we are not honest to ourselves to a certain extent. You elect an individual, you voted for the person, and you tell the person that, don't touch this. What do you mean by that? Control my cup. You say, don't touch my cup. How can I give you your cup?
So that's the point here. What we are saying is there are certain clauses that are not in our interest, and we are negotiating that our National Assembly members should be able to look at those clauses and make sure that we are able to remove it or try to change the wordings so that it will fit the interests of the people. But right now, we are very, very pleading to the National Assembly that we need the 2024 draft constitution to be passed when it comes to their table. We really need it.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Sarakunda. Please resume your seat. Can we now have the Honorable Member for Sabah Sanja? Honorable Member, you will have an opportunity in the next session to...
Thank you, Honorable Madam Speaker. Just to conclude, if you look at clause 246, we talks about accountability. In comparison with the 2024 draft, it was removed. And I think accountability is very essential as far as we are serious nation, as far as serious nation is concerned. Our leaders are doing things that is not in line with our constitution. So how do we expect that individual to be just watched like that? Is that unfair to the people? It is not fair. I think that accountability should be maintained so that whosoever is not in line with the laws, you should be brought back to your feet. Gis nga nit su dalam su ko xajute dang koy ñew no kay ma tanal la dal, but you're gonna just leave anybody to do whatsoever you feel, because here is a nation where it is guided by law. So hence it is guided by law. I think accountability should be maintained in the 2020 draft constitution, but it should not be changed, because it's only accountability ñu mëna am development bo xamane dafa sax ba faw da fogg na ne that accountability it has to be properly looked at, and then we will implement it very effectively.
Thank you very much, honorable members. May I now call on the mover of the motion to respond to some of the concerns raised and wind up the debate.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and then all the members that have took time in going through this discussion. It is very much important on some of the issues that which we have already discussed on. And then now to wind up the debate, the member for Serekunda, Josuang, and then also Nyane have discussed on the Liberty case, which was extended from 48 to 42 hours. And then this is something that which we want the 48 hours to be maintained. Because when you arrest an individual and someone is on detention, at least the law enforcement officers should be able to work in ensuring before the end of 48 hours to be able to bring evidences and then take the person to court. But when you keep the person until 72 hours, some of the right of the individual will be violated. If the person is the breadwinner of the family, it will take the family time before they are able to sort out certain issues. So within 48 hours, the law enforcement officers should be able to ensure they bring evidence. So what we are advocating for is, instead of 72 hours, we want to maintain 48 hours. So, and then when the honorable member for Nyani was also speaking, she said, beg. We are not begging the government to do things. They are there to do our basic needs, so we are not begging them. And cannot be able to do that. You resign and orders continue, but we are not begging any government. So we also have, others have also discussed on funding in regards to the youth empowerment. In the 2020, it says adequate. In the 2024, it says the word adequate has been removed. And then we are saying the word adequate to be brought back again. We just don't want funding to be done when they cannot be able to sustain or they cannot be able to cover the needs of that particular project. So this adequate should be brought back again. That is why we are ensuring the National Assembly members, the judiciary, the executive are having all those luxurious things so that they can be able to sit comfortable and decide on our issues. So we also have qualification. So the 2020 discussed on having degree, for instance, when some for presidency. But when you look at the 2024, just like the 1997 constitution, so we want at least someone that will handle the position of the presidency. The president should be highly educated. Sometimes we are trying to set standard. It is not a matter of marginalizing other groups that are not educated. But what we are saying here, this person is very much important. When we have someone that is half educated, there will be certain things. The person may not be able to have that technicality to be able to solve those issues. So we need people that are very well educated. And how we are going, when we have people that are half educated, it may not be able to take us forward. And we need progressive system. So others have also discussed on issue of the Minister of Justice. So that place, the law needs to be very, very clear on certain areas and be very, very specific. So we want to have, that place should be well clear that it can only be occupied by Gambians. Now, what about when you have, let's say, for instance, someone that is not a Gambian, handling that position, and you don't have president, the National Assembly is yet to have speaker, and now you want to have a foreigner sitting in office of the president, directing our affairs, so that place needs to be specific. We want Gambian. In fact, all the ministerial positions, even directors' positions, all of them should be Gambian. We don't want foreigners. We are very capable to be able to take care of our issues, so we don't want any foreigners. So the law should be very, very straightforward, because you know sometimes the lawyers also, they can twist on the law anyhow. Yes. So the Brikama, not also the honorable member for Brikama would have also discussed on. He said he will not choose the 2020 draft over the 2024. This is very, because the 2020 draft is consultative. The 2024 is not consultative.
Sorry, Honorable Speaker, sorry. Point of order. No, order.
Yes, please.
I didn't say I would choose the 2024 over 2020. I said I would choose 2020 over 2024, meaning I'm going in for the 2020. Thank you very much.
You people you are saying the same thing, just in reverse. It's okay. Please
yes, thank you. So I'm saying the same thing, that you prefer the 2020. So that's what I'm saying. I said the 2020 is consultative, where we spend hundreds of millions. So we don't want that to go in vain. At least, hadn't been, we know that the 2024 will die. It doesn't need for us to go and spend the 100 plus million. It's a matter of giving the executive to go and butcher everything and bring it forward, we eat it. So we have the member for Latrikunda Sabiji, honorable member, have also discussed on the 1997 constitution, whether progressive or the 2020 constitution progressive. So where we are having here, when you look at the 1997 constitution, there are certain flaws, and in this thing, we all, when this was discussed here, I could remember the right honorable member, that is for Serekunda, Honorable Halifa Sallah, discussed before we go in for now a new constitution. At least, why not we try and amend on the 1997? But in as much as we went in for another new one and we spend money there, then that had to continue. So the 2020 draft constitution is progressive, depending on the angle that which you want to view it. So we also have the president in nominating, in appointing people. We want the National Assembly to continue having their oversight function in ensuring they make sure people that are appointed into office are competent. We don't want political compensation. So when the National Assembly is not having that power, the president can appoint any individual. And we want capable individual to handle those positions. Sometimes, let's look, the past regime and also this other one. Sorry, the first 5 years of the president and now. It's political compensation of certain individuals. So we want the National Assembly to do those scrutiny, to ensure people that are coming. There are certain ministers, they cannot brag because they don't have any good record in those ministries. So we have the honorable member for Bondali have also discussed on in regards to the party. The 2024 draft constitution is not also avoiding foreign support. But what we are saying, the 2020 draft constitution, that was very specific, that should be maintained. Because we don't want any individual or corporate bodies to sponsor our political parties. Like we said, when they sponsor our political party, when they win, they will solely be compensated. And then the government may not be able to say no, because it is all 9K. So we want the political party to be sponsored by Gambians. If that cannot be done, a political party, it is for you join Dolga. So the honorable member for Central Badibu have also discussed on the loan issue, that it shouldn't be the National Assembly should not just have the constitution should not only say majority. Like, for instance, sometimes we see the National Assembly members, they may be busy or whatever, and when we have, let's say, for instance, 46 members that are available. So if that in that 46, if we have let's say 26 that have voted, so of course that is major. But what we are saying, 2/3 of the National Assembly, so that the loan that because currently looking at the government of the Gambia, Barrow, James Ridgeman and Jawara's regime, we have $64 billion loan, but looking at President Barrow's regime, we have 110. So this issue needs to be regulated. We cannot continue to be begging people to bring it.
Point of observation, Honorable Speaker.
Point of observation rejected. So
point of order. Point of order.
Yes, Honorable Member for Sarakunda.
Thank you very much. It's not dollars, it's billion dollars, and it's $110 billion around that.
Thank you for that
not dollars,
clarification. Honorable Member, you might proceed, and please take note of that.
Yes, thank you for that. So next time, observe me. So the Honorable Member for Bundum Kakunda, where sometimes I usually reside, also have discussed on the issue of the citizenship. You know, we have to refer to other nationals also. Each of us that are seated here, one of our relatives is outside, and we want them to have citizenship of those countries. So why is it that our constitution is so afraid to allow others that are born in the Gambia? We said one of your parents must be a Gambian. Let us be very free. The moment you are born in the Gambia, have that citizenship certificate. When our people that went on this backward journey, the moment they reach at Italy or anywhere, hey, Italy, why can't we also have it? And then in the constitution also, it is also, let's say for instance, you also on board a plane. When the plane left, the constitution also says you are not a Gambian, you will be a citizen of where that particular plane is registered. If we are not fair to other nationals, so this area needs to be revisited so that we can correct this area. We can be able to challenge other countries. The nominated member for persons with disabilities, Honorable, you spoke very, very right. You see, you have a member that is suffering from that. In that, you can be able to speak for the best interest of them. But when you look at when we don't have those things, it will be very much difficult for us to be able to have policies that will be able to help these people. And when you look at our education system that he have also talked about, that one, the learning material for this, for persons with disability aren't available in school. In fact, in the whole region, when you count, the itinerant teachers that you are having are very, very less. Sometimes you will see the whole district only one person. And we expect that person to be able to take care of all those people that are having those challenges. It is practically not possible. When you check in West Coast, you have only Gadok that is providing service for persons with disabilities. Now, how many people are we having that are sitting at home in Foni and other areas that cannot be able to access this? So braillettes and other materials should be provided for people with disabilities so that they can also continue to do things that will better the country. So we also have the member for Kiang West and then Open Yom have also discussed on teacher service scheme. Myself, I'm a very, very proud teacher. I'm a very, very proud teacher. But when this service commission is removed from the system, we have teachers that are living in all areas. They are living in very, very hard conditions. Sometimes you take certain people there, they will come back. In fact, more of the near post that will 1 week back because of the condition is not favorable. Some of the ministers and some of the president you see a teacher teaching so the service of these people, and then this commission that can be able to regulate those things. You see a teacher will be in the field for more than 15, 20 years, the person will not be promoted. And then this service commission should be able to do all of those things for the teachers to have. When we want to move as a nation, the education system must be well regulated so that things can work very well. So the nominated member for West Coast have also discussed on the quota system. It's very true. We also need to have the quota system. When you are discussing on certain things and you are not affected on that, you cannot discuss better. So that is why the quota system also, you see the example of the FGM case, when you have let's say, the number of men that are here, and also the number, and when you have equal number with the female also, the FGM discussion will be very wide, and we have a lot of perspective, and in that it will direct the nation. So the issue of education, basic secondary education. Sometime back, IFANET, which I am part of their board of directors, we had engagement with the Majalis head to ensure they set standard, and also the government also to subvent them. But with this 2024 draft, when I saw basic education is being squashed up, I am afraid if those people that are in those Majali school will be able to have this subvention. But already the secondary education is free. Your bondage, you can even do some subvention. It will not be possible. And we need those people also need to be subvented. All of us cannot be speaking this British tongue. Some have to speak other things. But when we limit ourselves on only English language, we are also marginalizing other sectors also. And that is why sometimes these Al-Mudi kids, it is because the government failed to take care of their responsibility. Those people should also be in very good condition. When you look at Al-Mudis, they are suffering. The government is doing little. But when the government is subventing those Majalis head, it didn't have the Saladano like Yetaya Muro Ares. Ibagregula Kang. So we have also the Honorable Member for Sabah Sanja have also discussed on accountability, and which is also been removed from the 2024 draft constitution. I believe the accountability, the moment people, he says, to whom much is given, much is expected. When we give you something, we are also expecting something from you. When you are unable to deliver to the expectation, we should account for that. But when that is also removed from the system, now no accountability. So the impeachment process have also been discussed. The prisoners also, Honorable Member for Baka have also discussed. Some of the prisoners said, this service of the prisoners also, their condition need to be looked. Some it's not because it's total. Some is by mistake. And when they are in the prison, they should have things that will better their life when they come out. But they are in prison. It doesn't tell well. So the government had a huge responsibility in ensuring all of this are regulated. And all of this cannot be regulated when we are having draconian laws that will continue to perpetuate people in authority, and they continue to subjugate citizens on issues that will continue to affect their life. Please, no begging. That is why the president, when they are on tour, instead of people discuss on issues that are affecting them, we are praising the president. We are not there to that. It is their responsibility. So on that note, Honorable Speaker and all other members, I'm saying a very big thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Fonyi Brefet. You did justice to that. Honorable members, I now put the question. It has been moved and seconded that this Honorable Assembly do adopt the motion on the Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia Promulgation Bill 2024. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Thank you very much, honorable members. This assembly now stands adjourned until 2:45. Thank you.